Hello, gamers. You're listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 88. And welcome back to another edition of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Brent Felsing, and joining me tonight, my right-hand man, my partner in crime, Mr. Benjamin Boyce. Benjamin, how you doing this evening, buddy?
Hey, man. I'm doing good.
Just us tonight, dude.
Just the two of us.
Just like the good old days.
Another blast from the past.
Yeah, we decided to give Frankie and Bender the night off. They're doing things, hanging out with friends, playing video games. It's just going to be Ben and I walking you through this week's episode of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. One quick note I want to make. We put it out on Twitter. If you listen to this podcast and you enjoy it, or if you have some feedback that you'd like to give us, all you have to do is send us an email, podcast@shortpause.com. And what we'll do is we'll go through all the feedback that we get. And the best pieces of feedback we get, the most constructive, whether it's good or negative, we're gonna give away a $10 PSN code or an Xbox Live code of whichever one you prefer. We'll email you back, let you know that you've won, and then you can tell us which code you'd like, and we'll hook you up with that. We want to hear from you. That's the most important thing about the show. We want to hear from you. We want to get your thoughts. So listen to this show. Keep on listening to this show. Send us an email, podcast@shortpause.com, and you're entered in to win. It's simple as that.
Am I eligible?
You are not.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
He's
Sorry.
a sham.
I am, though. That's weird. I didn't understand I
That
was looking at the
is
rules.
weird.
Yeah, the rules, it says, you're not eligible, but I am. I was like, I don't know who wrote these. His initials were BF, so I have no idea.
BS? Is that what you said?
It could have been.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Boyce, we got an extensive list. We got some big titles coming out this week.
Let's get into it, man. And we're gonna break convention a little bit this week because
Oh, no.
we got a big title coming to the world of Xbox. So we're gonna start things off with Gears of War 4.
Hey-o.
Now, typically, Gears of War 4, the actual release date is not this Friday, but the whatever Ultimate Collector's Edition or whatever they're calling this thing, or the Collector's Edition, or there's like 17 different versions of Gears of War 4.
Oh, there's the system. You get that. The system will actually show up on Thursday, but the game won't be active until Friday.
Okay.
And then there's the Ultimate Edition, and then I think it's the Ultimate Edition and the Collector's Editions are the ones that'll show up that you'll be able to start playing on Friday.
Yeah, and there's like 3 or 4 different variations to the Collector's Edition. So it's,
that's right.
There's a lot of Gears of War editions out there, but essentially, if you have one of the ones that's not $59.99, is that
that's pretty much it? Yeah.
Pretty much how we can differentiate it here. If you have one of the ones that's not $59.99, you will be playing Gears of War this Friday, October 7th, via this early enlister thing that seemingly every game is trying to do now. So This is a trend. Whether you like it or not, this is a trend that seems like it's going to be around for a little bit. I'd imagine this has probably been popular with gamers. A lot of people probably picking this up to try and get into their favorite game early. We're going to see this with Battlefield as well. Didn't we see this with something else recently? Forza. We saw this with that as well.
Forza had it as well. Yep.
Yeah. So this is something that I think we're going to see more and more and more of. Frankie's voiced his opinion on this subject before. We've talked about it before. It's an interesting concept, and the bottom line is if people keep paying for it, like, they're going to keep doing it. So and it seems like people are paying for it, so they're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
But Gears of War 4, Brent. Now, Gears of War, was obviously is one of Microsoft's tentpole franchises on the Xbox. Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 are very highly regarded. The series took kind of a strange detour with Judgment. It was a game that just it was what it was. It wasn't one of the strongest entries in the series, but they really want you to know that with Gears of War 4, like, this is your brass tacks Gears of War experience. Like, we are gonna get the same type of experience that we got with the first 3 Gears of War with Gears of War 4. I think that's why they wanted to continue on with the numbering, not only with the storyline, but just to let people know that this is not an offshoot like Judgment was. Like, we're getting right back where we left off. And this is the Gears of War that you know and love. we've seen elements of multiplayer. We've seen the horde mode revealed. We've seen stuff from the single player. The prologue video came out recently, which was like 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes of the game. Did you watch that at all?
I watched for like the first couple minutes. I was like,
Okay.
I don't want to see this. I
Yeah.
don't want to watch this. I want to wait.
Yeah, obviously it spoils the beginning of the game for you if you haven't watched it, but there's been a lot of positive buzz about that as well. And most of the hands-on has been extremely positive for this game. So it seems like this is the Gears of War that Gears of War fans have been looking for. Brent, what are you thinking that Gears of War is going to be available this Friday?
I'm pumped, man. I've got mine pre-ordered. I've got it downloaded on my Xbox One, and I have it on my PC. I went with the digital version, so I'll have the Play Anywhere on my PC as well. I'm excited for this because at the same time, I'm disappointed that I didn't actually find the time to go back and play 2 and 3. I know, like you said, Judgment isn't widely regarded as one of the better entries in the series, but I never ever got a chance to actually play through 2 or part 3. So I'm hoping that's not too big of an issue. I'm still relatively new to Gears of War. I mean, I played the Ultimate Edition earlier this year, and I absolutely loved it. That game was awesome. Had a blast with it. I'm excited for this one because obviously this is an Xbox One version. This is built from the ground up. This is for Xbox One. Plus, I never ever got to try out Horde mode. I never ever played Horde mode, and I've heard Horde mode is an awesome mode.
Yeah,
so
Horde mode started with the second one, so.
Yeah, that's why I missed out on that one. So I'm actually really excited about playing this one so I can try out Horde mode because I absolutely love co-op and I love Horde mode. So I'm really excited to try that out as well.
I mean, Gears of War, I don't know if people... I think sometimes we forget about that much of the modern shooter and modern third-person stuff that we have came from Gears of War. Like cover-based shooting, like it was really first done like it is today in Gears of War. Like the horde modes that we see in all these games, like I first remember that showing up in Gears of War 2. And now it's in every game. So this is a franchise that has innovated over the years and has really set the course for the shooter genre ever since it first came out. What was it 2007 now? It's been a while now. So and for better or worse, like Gears of War 4 just looks like a Gears of War experience. I mean, if you are a Gears of War fan, like you should love this game. If for whatever reason you weren't a fan of the game, you probably won't like it, but there's not too many of those people out there. What do you think about the multiplayer, Brent? I know you played it a little bit in the beta. Multiplayer is extremely intense with the Gears of War hardcore. Like I think these people get in there and they really give it to you. So if you think Call of Duty is difficult or Battlefield or one of these other games that you jump into it and get the floor waxed with you, Gears of War is like even more so. I mean, it gets pretty intense online there. Are you thinking that you're gonna venture back into it at all? I mean, I'd imagine one of these editions you bought comes with the season pass or whatever, which is I think all multiplayer content. So are you gonna try to jump in there and get your money's worth of that, or what are you thinking?
I'm sure I'll dabble in it, but as of right now, my interest is obviously the story and then the horde mode. I like the co-op. Look, there's a thing. I can play Call of Duty, I can play Battlefield, I can play Rainbow Six Siege, and I can do well in those. But then you go to these other games like that are a little bit more difficult to get grips to, like Gears of War. Killzone was not an easy game to jump into, to master. You had to be really, really good to be good at Killzone. Same with The Last of Us Online. I don't know if you ever played The Last of Us multiplayer. Yeah. That's a very tough game to play. It takes a lot of time and a lot of patience, and you have to really get an understanding of how to play it. Gears of War, I absolutely suck at it. No matter what I do, it's a bad decision. I always end up getting worked over. And I don't blame the game. I just blame that on myself for not taking the time. I don't have the time to invest to get really good at it. Gears of War players who are Gears of War players who are good at it, those guys are badass at that game. I give them full credit. I give them kudos. I tip my hat to them. I have no interest in going online and trying to learn with these people because they are just so damn good. And it's just, it's no fault of the game. It's one of those games that you have to play a lot to get an idea of how to play it, to be good at it. Yeah. I need the quick, easy access stuff like Call of Duty, Battlefield, or the team-focused stuff like Rainbow Six Siege. That's more my element. The stuff like Gears of War has, I can't get into it. I'm not very good at it. And obviously, if you suck at something long enough, or if you don't find yourself evolving it or improving, you're just like, you know what, maybe this isn't meant for me. That's why I'm happy that they have the horde mode. I'm looking forward to jumping into that, working with some friends, working as a team. That's more my element.
Yeah, the horde mode Sounds pretty intense. I mean, some of these runs have gone upwards of like 3 or 4 hours. I think up through all 50 waves. I think they have
Wow.
in Horde mode 3.0. So it sounds pretty intense. Watch the video on it; looks intense. I've always loved Horde mode. That was always a super fun mode, and always loved the Gears campaigns. So I need to get on upgrading my PC here so I can play this game. I need to get on with it here. That's the other thing, Brent. You know, this is the first time Gears has been back on PC in a while now. So a lot of excitement around that. You know, we've seen some of the 4K trailers that have come out too. So if you have a beefy enough rig, I mean, you can play this thing at extremely high settings, and it's probably going to look incredible. You can imagine this game in 4K with some of the visceral stuff that goes on. This is the first kind of post Marcus Gears. I mean, he's still in the game and still seems to have a very heavy presence, like we talked about on the show previously. But this is like the beginning of a new storyline, and you know, with you, even though you didn't play 2 and 3, I feel like this is probably going to be a good jumping on point for people. I mean, obviously, a lot of the characters that went through the Gears of War 3, like they had their story, and their story's kind of wrapped up. I mean, obviously, they're going to call back to some of the elements of the games. There's going to be fan service and things like that. But I feel like for those of you that haven't played through all the entire Gears saga, you know, I feel like this will probably still be an okay jumping on point for most people. Especially since this is the first time the game's on a new platform as well, on the Xbox One.
Right.
Yeah. So this Friday, Brent.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and if I'll be streaming it on Thursday night, a midnight launch party stream. I'll be on Twitch. I think Frankie will be joining me. We're going to start playing the game cooperatively, and then I'll be streaming it most of the day on Friday. So if you follow us on Twitch, it's Short Pause Live. If you miss it there, it'll obviously be on video on demand there, but I'll also have it transferred over to our YouTube channel, Short Pause Gaming. So look for that. I'm pumped. Thursday night, Gears of War 4, baby.
So once again, Ultimate Collector's Edition, whatever. If you paid more than $60 for this game, you're going to be playing it this Friday. Everybody else, next Tuesday will be its official release date on October 11th. Let's get on with the rest of the releases this week, Brent. And you know, on the PlayStation side of things, the PlayStation Plus games for October were revealed, and this is the first lineup, you know, post price increase or whatever. And this is a pretty solid lineup here. On the PS4 side of things, we've got the Resident Evil remake, which was an excellent game by all accounts. Transformers Devastation, a retail game, making its appearance on the PS4. On PS3, we're going to get Mad Riders and Eric, what's his name? Kahi, I think that's his name. His game From Dust. And for the Vita, we've got Code Realize, Guardian of Rebirth, and Will O'Neill's Actual Sunlight, a game we reviewed for the site here. So Brent, give me your thoughts on this lineup here.
Strong. I mean, I got a couple of games that I haven't bought. It's the first time in a while. We got some games here that I haven't already bought, but Code Realize, Guardian of Rebirth, for Vita, Actual Sunlight, which you reviewed, and I'm actually going to try it out now with this. Obviously, Resident Evil, I played that remastered. That's really, really good. Transformers Devastation is a very good Platinum Games joint. I don't know anything about Mad Riders or From Dust, but no, I think this is a definite improvement over last month and one of the stronger lineups that we've had in a while.
Yeah. I mean, I thought last month was pretty solid too. It was a Journey and Lords of the Fallen for PS4. So it was a pretty solid lineup there. But nice to actually get some Vita games. I get some PSP games for the Vita. So
Right.
Code Realize is a visual novel that looks very interesting. So I'm really intrigued by that. You know, I've played through Actual Sunlight, reviewed it for the site. It's a very intriguing game. It'll only take you about an hour and a half to get through. But, you know, go check out my review on the website. Obviously, www.shortpause.com. Look for the Actual Sunlight review. It's a very, very unique experience in gaming. And, you know, it's not going to be for everybody. It deals with some very heady stuff. But I think it's something that's worth experiencing, especially if you're a fan of narrative-focused things or like whip-smart writing. Like that kind of stuff is in Actual Sunlight. And I actually held off on buying Transformers Devastation up to this point for whatever reason. So I'm excited that I'm going to have that now
There you go.
via PlayStation Plus. So, hey, put one in the win column for me. Yeah, so strong lineup. These will be available this Tuesday when the PlayStation Store updates. As far as games that are coming out this week, we got another Friday title that we got to talk about, Brent, and that's Mafia 3.
Ooh.
Another big joint. This is a big week for games. You know, we're really
Mm-hmm.
seeing the fall kind of get into the swing of things here. October is going to be a very busy month. So this Friday, not only is Gears of War coming out, but Mafia 3 will be coming out. And let me ask you about this, man. There's a story that came out this week that there are no review copies being sent out for Mafia 3.
Hmm.
Is this a concern at all in your eyes?
I mean, it's always going to be a concern. You always have to wonder what's the reasoning behind that. Obviously, I don't know if people are saying, "Oh, we don't want to spoil the story." Most of these reviewers know not to go out and spoil the story, so I'm not inclined to think that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
But no, very very strange that the review copies aren't coming out. I mean, considering all the previews have been very strong, they've
Yeah.
been very good. So it is weird that they aren't going to be sending out review copies. But at the same time, and if you look at a game like Doom, I mean, those reviews weren't out prior to the game's release, and it scored very high. So I mean, this isn't always a doomsday scenario, but strange nonetheless, considering all the previews were so good.
Yeah, Doom is the one game where you point to where this was an issue, but in every other instance that I can think of, like this has been there's
Mm-hmm.
been a problem with the game, and that's why they didn't want you to get your hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
2K, they typically put their games in people's hands from what I can remember. So for whatever reason, and like you said, the strange thing is that this game is previewed very. I mean, I've heard some great things about this game. This game
Mm-hmm.
sounds awesome. Like everybody who's got their hands on this game has said great things about it. Sounds like it's just going to be this epic open world crime narrative that
Mm-hmm.
sounds really really interesting. That I'm really intrigued to play. I know Frankie can't wait to get his hands on this. Like he's really looking forward to Mafia 3. But what do you think about the idea of this game, Brent? We're in 60s, kind of the South. We have an African American character who, I from what I understand, they're going to be dealing with some of the socio political issues that are going on at that time in the South.
Mm-hmm.
So how they handle that is going to be of importance as well. Hopefully that's not ham-fisted or just irreverent. But
Mm-hmm.
so I'll be really interested to see how they tackle that subject matter. Just the whole crime story that they seem to be playing out here sounds really interesting. I think the character's a Vietnam War vet, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
coming back from the war and kind of dealing with all the stuff that he gets into. So this game sounds like really really awesome, and
Mm-hmm.
the more and more I hear about it, the more and more I really want to play it. Where you at on Mafia, man?
Well, unlike Frankie, I didn't really get into Mafia 2, and I don't have too much invested into this
Yeah,
franchise. I
me
don't
me
get too
neither.
excited about it. But like you mentioned, the narrative here could possibly be very strong. There could be a real good story here with some interesting characters exploring some interesting issues that are very much going on today as well. So there is that. Like I said, the story sounds like it could be very very cool. My only issue is, like I said, I didn't have a good experience with Mafia 2, and the fact that this is another open world game with a lot to do, and there's so many other games coming out right now. I think I'm just going to wait to see what Frankie has to say about it, and maybe this is something I'll pick up like in the winter.
Yeah, it's it sounds like it's gonna be a big game, so it's always tough to fit these big games into the fall release schedule.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know, man. The more and more I see of this, I'm just like, man, I really want to play this game.
Yeah.
It sounds really good, and I can't really think of a preview I read that brought up too many issues or concerns. I mean, like I said,
No,
it's been
they're
like
all very, very good.
overwhelmingly positive for this
Yeah.
game, and I don't have a lot of experience with this franchise either. I never played Mafia 2 or Mafia 1 for that matter, so I don't have
Hmm.
any experience with it. But I'm a big fan of crime stories and organized crime stories. I love those movies and all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. Like that's stuff I really get into. I like reading about the history of that stuff as well.
Hmm.
So the idea of a game that taps into that is really interesting to me. And I don't know. I'm gonna have to find a way to squeeze this game in, man.
It's just so difficult because, like I said, on Friday, Gears of War 4,
Hmm.
and then the following week we got PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
So I just don't know when I would even fire this thing up.
Hmm.
I'm going to be playing Gears of War 4. I'm going to be doing Horde mode. We still got Destiny stuff. We got to try to get a raid in.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to get up there. It's I don't know where the hell I would have time to fit in Mafia 3 to play it to the point where I want to like really enjoy. I want to if I'm going to do Mafia 3, I want to be invested. I want to get into it. I want to explore all of it. There's just no window for me to do that right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question this is going to be a big game that's going to require some devotion to get the full experience out of it. But man, sounds really cool. And I don't know how I feel about the review thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
from what it sounds like, I guess they're going to be sending out copies maybe after the game's released to the press. Not sure what the reasoning is behind that, but we don't have any reason to be worried about this game at this point. So I guess we'll have to see how it all shakes out. Don't know when we'll be getting reviews for this game, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll be in people's hands on Friday, and yeah, it just looks better and better the more and more I see it, man.
Yeah.
So that's Mafia 3. Let's get on with the rest of the PlayStation 4 releases now for this week. Brent, the PlayStation Blogcast this week mentioned Necropolis again. So I looked into this because I'm like, look, all right, they mentioned it last week. It didn't come out. It showed up on the Xbox store. It didn't come out. It was mentioned again on the blogcast. I still haven't seen a news story about the actual release date for this game on PS4 and Xbox One. So I dug a little bit further. It appears that Necropolis is still in certification for both PS4 and Xbox One. So there's no way this comes out this week. We're probably looking at, and I don't know how long certification takes. I feel like there's a couple weeks involved with this at least. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like we're going to see Necropolis for a couple weeks. So we're going to strike that from the release list. And we're going to move on to the next one, which is a game I'm super excited about. And since Necropolis is not here, we're going to feature this one on the Indie Spotlight this week. That's Origami, Brent. This seems like something right up your alley as well. And this is a tailor-made Brent Felsing experience. This is a stealth like ninja game that's all about sneaking around, and you can choose how you want to play this game. If you want to be a ghost and go through non-lethally and unseen, you can do that. If you don't want to do that, you want to be a total badass, you've got some wicked powers at your disposal that you'll be able to
Mm-hmm.
utilize as you move around these environments. Incredibly beautiful art style. Love the way this game looks. I'm really looking forward to playing Origami on Thursday, man. On the Indie
Mm-hmm.
Spotlight, 10 p.m. Eastern, on our Twitch channel, Short Pause Live. So check us out there. But what do you think about Origami, man? Like I said, I mean, this has Brent Felsing written all over it.
At any time a game adds the ability to go through non-lethally and try to get through as stealthy, as quiet as possible without killing as many people as possible, I absolutely take that challenge head on. I don't know what it is. I just think it's because most games you're often people. It's driven that way. You're supposed to kill all these people, kill all the enemies in this area.
Mm-hmm.
I love having the option to go through non-lethally. I did it in Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I went through, didn't kill a single person. I did it in the first Dishonored. I plan on doing it in the next Dishonored coming out later this year.
Clean Hands is back.
Oh my god, that's the best trophy ever. But no, I'll be watching this stream. I don't want to pick it up. I don't want to buy it just because I'm not sure if I'm going to play it. But like a lot of the titles that I've waited for the Thursday Night Indie Spotlight, if it's good enough, I see you enjoy it, I usually pick it up the next day.
Yeah, there's an 8 to 10 hour gameplay experience in this game, from what I understand. So
Mm.
pretty beefy game for a downloadable title. There's a platinum trophy. There's a physical collector's edition. It's gonna be available as well. So lots of cool stuff based around Origami. Like I said, this art style really cool, man. Love the way this game looks. It's got this kind of
Mm-hmm.
inky, almost painted look to it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to describe, but a very striking looking game. So yeah, really looking forward to playing that one, man. This Thursday on the Spotlight. That'll be out Tuesday. Another extremely beautiful game coming out this week is Shu. SHU. Not talking about Yoshida-san. We're talking about Shu, the hand drawn 2.5D platformer that looks really striking, man. There's something involved with a storm that's chasing you. This is actually coming to the Vita as well. It's a cross-buy title. It'll be out on the Vita as well at some point in the future, but it'll be out this Tuesday for the PS4. This is another one I got to get my hands on, Brent. Looks awesome, man. What do you think about Shu?
I think this looks really, really good as well. I think it's a title I'm going to wait for the Vita version,
Mm-hmm.
simply because that's probably where I'll get more time with a game like Shu would be on a Vita as opposed to PS4. But like you said, very beautiful art style. Looks like a cool platform. I'm definitely on board for that one.
I love these hand drawn games that we're getting now. Like
They look beautiful, man. They
this is
look
a
great.
big thing in the indie scene now. A lot of
Uh-huh.
people are getting into the hand drawn stuff for whatever reason, and I just think it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this style, and we saw it with Jotun, and we're seeing it with Shu, and a lot of these games we've talked about. In fact, the next one on this list looks like it's hand drawn as well. That's Viking Squad. That's coming out this Tuesday. I think this is a up to 4 player co-op brawler, and we got to get in and play this game because this game looks awesome, man.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, really, really good looking game. Harkens back to the side-scrolling brawlers of yore. But looks like a lot of fun. And like I said, just another game that just looks just beautiful, man. You just
Yeah, it
watch the
does. The
trailer.
animation style is gorgeous.
Yeah, you just watch the trailer for this game. You just want to play it just by the way it looks. Like, it's just got that look to it. So incredibly beautiful, just clean line animation. It looks like they just jumped right off of a cartoon. Like they just ripped the animation cell right off there, put it onto your screen, and that's what you're playing. So I believe the plan is we're gonna try and fire this one up Tuesday night, Brent.
Nice.
So
Yep.
10 p.m. Eastern, we'll probably run it on our Twitch channel.
Yep.
On Tuesday night, we'll fire up Viking Squad so you guys can see what it's all about. But at least go watch the trailer for this game. It looks striking, and it looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. I used to play these games all the time when I was a kid, going to the arcades and all that kind of stuff. So these ones always tickle the nostalgia bone for me. So I'm pumped to play Viking Squad with you, man.
We'll do a co-op Tuesday night.
Sounds good. A Bastard's Tale also coming to PS4 this week. A very strange looking game. It's a weird animations, like 8-bit side scroller, all about kind of melee combat. Strange looking title. Dead Synchronicity. This is another really cool looking title this week, man. Lots of good downloadable games this week. Dead Synchronicity. Tomorrow comes today. An adventure game about like unraveling time with another like really cool art style. This is another one of those games that looks like it may have come from the MTV Eon Flux era of animation. It's got that kind of look to it. It's kind of dark, grizzled, real stylistic animation. Looks like another really cool game that I'd like to get my hands on at some point. You know, if you're an adventure fan, check out Dead Synchronicity. It looks like it might be cool. Rogue Stormers, another game right up my alley. This is a side-scrolling roguelike game. Basically, you go through the thing I like about Rogue Stormers, and it's the thing I liked about Rogue Legacy, is that you keep your upgrades in this game as you go through your subsequent runs. So you go through 7 side-scrolling stages of increasing difficulty, and make no mistake about it, this game looks difficult. there are a ton of enemies on the screen here. This is like a Contra type of a game. It's like a side-scrolling action game, but it's got RPG and rogue elements in it, and that's the thing I always like when the rogue games do that, when they let you keep your upgrades. So as you're going through this game, you're gonna get stronger and stronger, and you're gonna get better and better runs as you get better and better gear, and that's always just a really addicting formula. So if Rogue Stormers does that right, this could be a game that's really really fun and really really addicting to play. So that'll be out this Tuesday as well. Space Hulk Ascension, which is a strategy game in the Warhammer universe. Oddly enough, 2 Warhammer games coming this week. So you got Space Hulk Ascension and Warhammer: The End of Times Vermintide.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah, is that a strategy game as well? I don't know a whole lot about Vermintide.
I don't know.
Yeah, so Warhammer fans take note. Now, Frankie was mentioning something about he was wondering if one of these games was coming out. Was it one of these Warhammer games, or was it a different one?
I think it is one of these ones, but I know he was really excited about one of the other Warhammer games that isn't coming out till later next year.
Ah, okay. So lots of Warhammer love for Warhammer fans. for old school fans, Atari Flashback Classics Volume 1 and 2, both coming out this Tuesday, and just a ton of games on here. I mean, basically any like classic Atari game you could think of, from Asteroids to Centipede to Space Invaders to all this stuff, man. I mean, they're all on here from what I've seen. So if you're a fan of Atari games, there's like, I don't know, 30 games on each collection here. So there's quite a few in here. The trophy list popped up for these games, and they had Vita listed on it as well.
Really?
Didn't see the Vita version in the release list for this week, but I feel like if the trophy list is out there, barring some type of a mistake, which happens occasionally, but these collections could be on the Vita as well. I think these would be right at home on Vita. I mean,
I think you're right.
Pulling up a classic collection of Atari games would be pretty fun on the
question about that trophy list.
Yeah.
Platinum?
Yeah. From what I saw.
Really?
I believe there's a platy on there.
Wow.
Let's double check so we don't misinform the people. Atari Flashback Classics Volume 1, 25 total trophies with a platinum.
Wow.
Vita listed on here as well. Atari Flashback Classics Volume 2, 25 trophies with a platinum. Vita listed on here as well. So I think it's a pretty safe bet that at some point, since the Vita is on both of these on separate trophy lists, that at some point this Atari collection is going to come to Vita. Maybe even this week. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. Like I said, I didn't see the Vita in the release list. But at the very least, this collection will be out on PS4. It's coming to Xbox One as well. But a Vita version is in the future for us as well.
And how many games on each one?
There's like 30 on each one from what I mean, I didn't count them, but it looks about 30.
So is this going to be like those classics where you just fire the game up and you get a trophy? Because those are two easy platinums if that's the case.
Well, it's possible. Let's see. We've got Wanderer, try every game.
Okay.
It's not too difficult. Payoff, double your money in blackjack. This is volume 1, by the way. I hear them marching in my sleep. Reach the top of the local scoreboard in Centipede.
Huh.
So if you remember the classic arcade scoreboard that pops up there, get into the top of there. Dawn of a New Era. Reach the top of the local scoreboard in Liberator. So these seems like these might take some effort. You know, there's a lot of scoreboard stuff. Obviously, Atari based in the arcade days. A lot of scoreboard chasing and that kind of stuff. So yeah, probably not as easy as simply just not like arcade archives trophies. Probably gonna be a little more effort put into it, but it'll probably be fun nonetheless to fire up some of these old games. So that's your Atari flashback minute. Let's move on with the release.
Interesting.
And another game I think looks really, really interesting is Wheels of Aurelia. And this is coming Wednesday, October 5th. And this is half driving, half story game. So it's another game with a really cool art style to it. It's got this kind of pastel, almost deco look to it. But as you're rolling through this game, you're in 70s Italy, and you're in the middle of a period of unrest for that country. So there's a lot of things that are going on in Italy at this time, and you can find yourself based on the passengers and the way that because you're driving in the game, but you're also having conversations with the person driving with you. So there's kind of a narrative going on while you're driving, and things happen based on who's in your vehicle, the dialogue choices you make. You could get involved in car chases, and different things can pop up. So very, very interesting sounding game. I don't think I've ever heard of a narrative racing game quite like this. So this is another one that on a week that wasn't as loaded would be something I'd think about firing up for the spotlight. But it's something I want to check out at some point. So keep your eyes on Wheels of Aurelia if you're looking for a unique experience. Rocksmith 2014 edition remastered, probably the strangest title this week. But Rocksmith coming out with some tweaks, some new songs added in there. So if you're looking to figure out how to play the guitar, check that out. This is one I wasn't 100% confirmed on. It wasn't listed on the blogcast this week, but sometimes games aren't. Laser Disco Defenders came out on the Vita a few weeks back. The PS4 version scheduled to come out this week. It's a cross-buy title with the Vita, so if you already have the Vita version, you'll have the PS4 version when it comes out this Tuesday. Tropico 5 is getting a complete collection on the PS4. Then we've got some DLC stuff to go over here. Homefront: The Revolution, Voice of Freedom DLC, actually available right now. So if you're looking to expand your Homefront experience, go check that out. Brent, you ever jump back into this game or any
to be honest
desire?
with you, I didn't even fire it up.
Oh, awesome. Star Wars Battlefront, the Death Star DLC, is available this week for non-season pass holders. So it's 2-week window we're up. Brent, I'm hearing some good things about this DLC, man. Like really good things about Death Star. I really need to get in there and test this out because it sounds awesome. Yeah. Like that battle station mode sounds awesome.
I watched a couple videos of it. It looked pretty sweet, dude.
Yeah.
It looks really awesome. First, you're like in this. You start off like it's space combat.
Mm-hmm.
You've got these Star Destroyers everywhere, and you're trying to take them down. And then after that, you're inside the Death Star, running around trying to get to like control points. Yeah. And then the final section is basically like a trench run.
Yeah, I mean,
you're like battling just on the surface of the Death Star, like you see in the movie. It looked really, really cool.
Yeah, looks cool, sounds cool. I definitely need to check this out at some point. Paragon's getting a new hero in Kwang, not sure how to say his name. He's a sword-wielding hero. So if you're looking for a new character in Paragon, check out him this week. And GTA 5 is getting its Bikers update. So if you are plugging away at this game, which you probably are because they've sold like 75 million copies of this game, but you're probably still playing GTA 5, get your Bikers update this week. Go out, create a motorcycle club, do that kind of fun stuff. Nothing for the PS3 and Vita this week. So let's get back into Xbox, Brent. Gears of War 4, obviously, we already talked about. Once again, that'll be out this Friday, October 7th. There's a Connect bundle. I know you've been waiting for this, but the Beats and Booms and Squids Connect bundle. Available now, only until October 9th. So, I mean, you got to get in on this, man. If you don't get it by October 9th, you cannot buy this bundle anymore. You'll have to buy the game separately. So
I'm good.
So get in on
I
this
gotta
now.
connect. I gotta connect.
Get in on this now. October 9th, the Beats and Booms and Squid Connect bundle will be no more. Also coming to the Xbox One this week, of course, Mafia will be on there Friday, October 7th, alongside Gears of War. Man, that's a big day, dude. Dead Synchronicity tomorrow comes today. The adventure game we talked about a couple of minutes ago will also be on the Xbox One. The Atari Classics Collections, Volume 1 and 2 will be on there. Warhammer, The End Times, Vermintide will be on the Xbox One this week. Wheels of Aurelia, a Wednesday title for the Xbox One. Slain Back from Hell. That's that hard rock, heavy metal Metroidvania game. That'll be out this Wednesday for the Xbox One. Rogue Stormers is a Friday title on Microsoft's platform. 100 Ways is a puzzle navigation game that'll be out Friday, October 7th. Now, on the DLC side of things, obviously the Star Wars DLC will be available on there as well. The Homefront Revolution DLC is available on there as we speak, and the GTA 5 Bikers update come to Xbox One as well. All right, Nintendo, Brent, what we missed last week for the Wii U, Archery by Thornberry Software. That's the name of this game. It's the full name of this game.
The actual developer's name is in the title.
Yeah, it's in the title.
Awesome.
Archery by Thornberry Software on the eShop now for $20. And how about this? Pikmin, a Wii Virtual Console title, available now for $19.95. Obviously, people love Pikmin, so highly regarded game. So that's available now on the Wii U if you so choose. There's another big title for Nintendo coming out this week, dude, and that's Paper Mario Color Splash. Another Friday release. So Friday, going to be a busy day for video gamers everywhere. I don't know if you saw this story, but this game actually briefly leaked a few weeks ago, or a week ago. Like it leaked a couple weeks early, and it was actually up on the eShop, and people could download it out of their system and start playing it. It was quickly remedied, but some people got their hands on it early, so I thought that was interesting. Also interesting is this game is being marketed alongside like people who like Splatoon. I saw this marketing poster this week, and I gotta pull this up, man, because this is. If you liked Splatoon, then you'll love Paper Mario Color Splash. Both games use color to bring their worlds to life. Both games have color. Both games cast memorable characters. So it sounds like a reasonable assumption.
Sure.
Both games are super colorful. So if you like Splatoon because it was colorful, you're going to like Mario Color Splash because, Brian, it's colorful.
Oh, okay.
Both games will make you laugh out loud. Well, that makes sense. Mario RPG games are known for their humor. And both games are on the Wii U. So there you go.
That's a selling point?
Yeah, so by those logical, if you can draw those logical conclusions there, the game, it has colors, it's colorful, it's on the Wii U, and by that logic, you should like Mario Color Splash.
That's really interesting.
Splatoon.
That's interesting marketing.
So, strange marketing aside, the Paper Mario games are well liked, well regarded. They're typically always a fun time from what you hear about people that play them. So that'll be out this Friday. Bender's a Paper Mario fan. I know he's looking forward to this one, so hopefully we'll get some words from him next time he's on the show. But it is a beautiful looking game. And if you watch some video of Paper Mario Color Splash, it looks very, very good. And it has that really cool just paper look to it that we're seeing for the first time in full high definition on the Wii U. So very striking looking title. For the 3DS, Brent, didn't miss anything last week. This week we're getting the Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack, which is going to house both Gunvolt games in one package under one cartridge. So that's awesome. And then Epic Word Search Holiday Special will be out on the eShop this week for $7.99. That's it, dude.
Man, just a ton of games this week. Friday is going to be Doomsday.
Yeah.
For a lot of gamers. A lot of people. Hope everyone's getting paid on Friday because you got a lot of games coming out.
Fall gaming season getting into full swing this week for sure.
Now, let's get into the news, Mr. Boyce. We have some big-time Destiny information that came out this week.
Ooh,
a lot
tell
of
me
information. More. A lot of information about Destiny 2.
Mm.
Destiny 2 is obviously slated for a late 2017 release.
Mm-hmm.
But the PC crowd is going to get their hands on Destiny 2, apparently.
Mm.
A huge article Starting at Kotaku, Jason Schreier did some fantastic reporting on Destiny 2 and all the information that he's gotten. Here's the information that we have from Kotaku. Destiny 2, currently unannounced, is coming to PC in addition to Xbox One and PlayStation 4, several sources have told Jason. The PC rumor first popped up on NeoGAF, where a GAF poster named Benny A wrote that a friend at Activision had told him that Destiny's much-anticipated sequel will indeed be on PC. The publisher informed employees about the news during an internal presentation today, according to Benny A. He added another interesting tidbit, that the Activision-owned studio, Vicarious Visions, is also helping out on Destiny 2. Although that isn't public knowledge, Kotaku had heard the same thing a few weeks ago, which adds credence to Benny A's report.
Those are the guys working on Crash Bandicoot, the Crash Bandicoot remastered, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, is it? That's what I was curious what they've worked on before. So they're the guys working on Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah,
okay.
And they've been with Activision for a very long time. They've worked on a lot of stuff. They've worked on the just a lot of stuff over the years. Spider-Man games, just all kinds of stuff.
It makes you wonder, how many studios does Activision have?
Dude,
they've got what, 3 or 4 that psycho Call of Duty.
Yeah. That just work on Call of Duty, and that's probably thousands of people just in that group.
Wow.
And because they've got like Raven and stuff too, don't they?
Yes, they got Raven.
Yeah, I think Raven's doing Call of Duty stuff too, like helping out with multiplayer. So there's a lot of studios that kind of pitch in with Call of Duty. I think Vicarious Visions is probably one of them. They've probably helped out on a Call of Duty or two in their day, I'm sure.
But releasing Destiny's sequel on PC will give Bungie access to a giant new potential audience, one that wasn't around for the first game, which is obviously would be huge for Destiny 2 if they got into the PC crowd.
Yeah.
Ditching last-gen consoles, which Bungie has already done for the recently released Rise of Iron expansion, ensures that they no longer have to worry about antiquated memory restrictions.
Makes sense.
Jason Schreier also had this to say: "We also hear that Bungie aims to make Destiny 2 feel like an entirely new game, rather than a Taken King style expansion, even if that means leaving old characters behind." Over the past few months, he's heard that Bungie's leadership wants Destiny 2 to feel like a proper sequel, even if that means leaving old planets, characters, and activities behind. In a conversation with Jason, people connected to Bungie have made comparisons to Blizzard's Diablo 2, which iterated on the first game in some incredible ways, but didn't carry over characters or content from Diablo. He doesn't exactly know how much will change in Destiny 2, but all signs point to the developers starting from scratch. Destiny 2 is a completely different game, said one person familiar with the development. The Taken King was a reboot for Destiny 1 to fix small things. This is the overhaul to fix big things.
That's an interesting quote right there.
Assuming Destiny 2 won't let players carry over their old characters, Bungie will likely offer something to players who have poured hundreds of hours into the game. Last that Jason had heard, Bungie has not yet finalized those decisions.
We'll raise our hand on that one for the hundreds of hours.
I got questions on that. One of the terms they'll be offering, or one of the terms that he's been hearing often with Destiny 2, according to the source, is play-in destinations, a new activity model that will revamp how Destiny's world functions. The plan, from what Jason's heard, is for Destiny 2's planet areas to feel more populated with towns, outposts, and quests that are more interesting than the patrol missions you can get in Destiny. I like the sounds of that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds like an open world, like kind of like a Fallout or a Witcher type area. Like you have a ton, or even Far Cry. That sounds like outposts. You know, you've got a ton of towns to visit, little areas. I like the idea of that. That sounds cool. Because that's the one thing we always talk about when we play Destiny, when we go into the Cosmodrome. You see all this area around you, and you see buildings in the distance. You're like, but I'm kind of just stuck in this area. You know, I don't get to go and explore everything. That sounds like what they're trying to do is give you more to explore.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I like that. In April, according to several sources, Bungie had a staff reorganization. During this process, the Taken King director Luke Smith and executive producer Mark Noseworthy became, respectively, director and executive producer of Destiny 2. They rebooted the story that had been written up to that point. A number of veteran Bungie staffers also left the studio around that time. Some went to big companies, others moved into indie development. The bulk of Bungie's 750 plus employees are working on Destiny 2. And Activision has also recruited other studios, including High Moon, Vicarious Visions, and others to help with the development of the game, according to sources.
Whew, that's
750 people plus three other developers.
That is
wow.
Yeah, so that tells you all you need to know about how important Destiny is to Activision and to Bungie and to everybody around this game. I mean, this is a huge, huge title.
Wow. So, boys, I mean, let's jump in this. I mean, what do you think? Like, where do you want to start with this, man?
Well, let's start with the fact that Destiny's coming to PC, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to mean a couple things. One, obviously, there's a whole new crowd that's going to be able to get their hands on Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bungie's kind of had a strange relationship with PC in their games over the years. You know, I think Halo 1 came to PC, Halo 2 came to PC. I don't think any of the other Halos after that came to PC. So it's like it's been kind of an on and off relationship they've had with PC. They've primarily been a console developer over the years. So that'd be interesting to see them get back into PC. And I'm curious, like, do they handle all the PC stuff? Is this something that they outsource to maybe, like, I'm not saying Vicarious Visions. I don't think they do any PC stuff, but maybe to one of these other developers. Like, do they grab the reins on the PC version? Does this then open up modding in Destiny? Like, does that become a thing? You know, how deep can they go with these mods? You know, does this open up the possibility that? But I mean, it's probably a foregone conclusion that we'll see some type of Destiny 2 version for the PS4 Pro and for the Scorpio. I think that probably goes without saying that we'll have some of that as well. So, yeah, just interesting that the game is actually going to be on PC and it's going to open up this whole new ball game. And you know, I'm curious if some of the features that they put into the PC version are going to make their way over to the console version as well. And how does this factor into, like, Sony's exclusivity deal with Destiny? How does that factor into that stuff? So it'll be interesting. I mean, I assume it would just be similar to how they do it with Call of Duty now. So, so yeah, that's interesting that the PC is going to be brought into it from what they're hearing.
It's interesting, but not shocking. I mean,
no, not shocking at all.
I mean, Destiny is an incredibly addicting game. There's a lot of people that want to play it, and it'll do very well on PC. When you mention mods, though, I don't know how I feel about having mods in an online game. A game that's primarily played online. I mean, are there a lot of online games that would like in an MMO that would have? Because I mean, Destiny is essentially an MMO in some ways.
Yeah, I mean,
are there a lot of MMOs
in a lot of ways
that implement mods, or are mods more or less single player experiences like the Fallouts and the Doom experience and whatnot?
Honestly, don't know, man. I mean, I know Unreal Tournament was a big mod game. That was something where people would make maps and that kind of stuff. But in terms of like Destiny's framework and structure, like I don't know how mods would fit into that. Like, I'm not a mod expert. I don't know a lot about mods or how they work, so I don't know how that would work itself into the way Destiny is set up. But I feel like that's something that PC gamers are gonna want. They're gonna want some type of a mod community, some type of mod support on the game. So it'll be interesting to see what angle they take with that. And they mentioned the thing on here too about leaving the PS3 and the 360 behind. They no longer have to worry about the limited memory that those systems have. So that just opens the floodgates that they can now move on to PC and just focus on these higher end consoles now. Now, even more interesting than the PC angle, Brent, is this idea that Destiny 2 is going to feel like an entirely new game. So that's a pretty broad statement. It's going to feel like an entirely new game. Jason made references to Diablo 2 from what he's hearing from his sources as a point of reference. I wasn't around for Diablo 1, so I don't know exactly what changed when they went over to Diablo 2, but it sounds like they made a huge improvement. I know Diablo 2 was a gigantic game. I mean, when I was in high school, like that game was just an enormous game. Like everybody was playing Diablo 2. So I know that was like a tentpole game for Blizzard at the time. So to hear that they're looking to do something like that with the next iteration of Destiny, it's kind of exciting. It's kind of scary a little bit too. Where are you at on this entirely new game with Destiny 2.
They mentioned the thing, that the Taken King was a reboot for Destiny 1 to fix small things. This is an overhaul to fix big things.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they keep a lot of the core elements that make Destiny such a unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
The strike missions. I like the setup of the strike missions, and I like the setup of the raids, and I like the cooperative stuff, and I like the daily and all that stuff. I mean, if you want to make the areas bigger that you explore, I'm down with that. I think that sounds great. But I hope they keep some of that good DNA, the stuff that people love about Destiny. I mean, there's always that fear that you're going to depart too much from what made Destiny such an addicting game to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go bigger, that's fine. But just keep the certain foundations there that have done Destiny well, that have done so well for Destiny over the last 2 years. I mean, like you said, I don't mind if they try to innovate and if they try to make things bigger and better. That's cool. But don't forget the key elements that people do really enjoy about Destiny.
Yeah. I mean, if you just reading between the lines of what Jason had to say in his reporting, just that comparison of going from Diablo 1 to Diablo 2, it sounds like with Destiny 2, like that's what they want to do. Like they want to take the stuff that worked with Destiny 1 and then they want to bring that over while overhauling some of the systems around. Like obviously people love raids. Raids are some of the best experiences I've ever had playing a game. Have been doing Destiny raids, so that those are here for the long haul. They just need to keep doing keep doing those the way they're doing those because they're awesome. You mentioned strikes are great. The other thing is just the way Destiny plays. This game is just, from a technical perspective, it's almost flawless. I mean, the way this game feels to play, the way movement works, the way the guns handle, the way the shooting is, like it's the best feeling console shooter, bar none, in my opinion. So they need to bring that over to Destiny 2 as well. Like this game needs to have that feel. Like that's really what makes this game special. The gameplay in Destiny is what makes it a special experience. It's what makes the raids possible. It's what makes the strikes possible. It's what makes everything you do in that game possible. It's because the gameplay is so damn good. So that's what they need to do. They need to bring that over. They don't want to tinker with that too much. They're gonna add stuff here and there. Obviously when they do a full on sequel, but they need to keep the feel of Destiny there when they go and make Destiny 2.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So there's that, and I'm with you, man. There's always a little bit of trepidation when you talk about making like these grand full scale changes to a game that you love. So Destiny is a game we've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours playing. It's a game we've dedicated a lot of our time to over the last few years. It's a game we love to play. It's a game we love the way it feels, and it's probably going to take some getting used to once Destiny 2 comes out with whatever they decide to fix. But there's always that, like you said, that little bit of trepidation that maybe they change too much. Maybe they go too far off the beaten path. And but yeah, like you said, man, if they keep the raids and the strikes and the feel of the game and some of the stuff that we love to do in Destiny, and they fix all the other stuff around it, like it also sounds incredibly exciting. Like this is not just an expansion to this game anymore. Like we are looking at what is sounding like an ambitious sequel to Destiny, and that's actually really exciting, man.
Yeah, like I said, I love the idea because I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people involved. Bungie has a vision of what they want Destiny to be in the end, and as I can't stress it enough. Just don't alienate the features, the gameplay that has made it such a good experience so far. Add whatever you need to add. Just don't change the stuff that works.
Yeah, and like the personality of the guns, like all the stuff that we love about Destiny. Like your gear has names, your guns have names. They have stories behind them with the Grimoire cards. So like let's expand on that stuff, but let's keep all the stuff that people love about this game. And Bungie, they communicate with their community all the time. Regardless of what you may hear or think otherwise. Like I really like the way Bungie communicates with their fans. I mean, they constantly upkeep their blog. They're constantly talking to people about this game. They're constantly taking in feedback and trying to weave it into their game. So I've always liked that communication that they have with their fans, and they know what people like about this game. Like, so it would be very shocking if they just suddenly overhauled this game and it doesn't feel anything like itself once Destiny 2 comes out.
Yeah, I don't think they'll let that happen.
Yeah. Now, Another interesting thing that's mentioned here, Brent, is this idea that your old characters may not carry over. This is going to be a divisive point, I believe, and I know you have some thoughts on this. So why don't you share them with us? What do you feel about the possibility that this character you've poured hundreds and hundreds of hours into may not make the transition to Destiny 2?
Well, here's my thing, man. Like I said, I understand if they can't bring the characters over. Okay, maybe this new format, it's just not possible. But my fear is when they try to compensate people that have poured hundreds of hours in, I'm afraid it's just going to be something like, oh, here's a cloak,
An emblem.
that's awesome, and here's a higher ranked ghost, and here's an exotic weapon. I hate that. I hate when they do stuff like that. I can't think of any games. I know games have done it before where you just kind of it's disappointing like reward for your efforts. My understanding was when we first started talking about Destiny before it came out, we had to talking about the 10-year plan. This is a 10-year game,
Yep.
and I always was loved the idea of creating a character on the ground floor at the start and just making my way through this Destiny experience, this epic saga of years on down the line, and have that same character that I've had, the light level, everything, my ranking, everything would carry over, my statistics, everything would carry over.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, hopefully the statistics will carry over. I don't see how that would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I just hope there's if they do go away with that, if they do eliminate bringing over your characters, I just hope there's some kind of reward. I don't even want a reward. I want just something that'll give me my character something to remind me, hey, look, this is the same guy. I don't know. I don't even know what I would suggest.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, what would that be? Like, what in your mind, like, would be proper compensation for that?
Honestly, dude, I can't think of anything, which is why I want them to just bring the damn characters over. But I mean, at the same time, I understand why it might not be that difficult, because let's be honest, the character customization of Destiny isn't very in depth.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't create a unique character that that you can relate with. You can be like, oh yeah, that looks like me. I mean, had they had a deep character customization, I would be more apt to be like, man, please let me bring this guy over, because I've had this guy from the start.
Mm-hmm.
These characters you create are all, they're unique in certain ways, but it's not like some kind of a deep characterization of yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, man. I'm indifferent. I mean, I understand, hey, look, if they're trying to make the game bigger and better, and your character won't, translate over well to that game, then I understand. I just hope they find like a good common ground, a unique compensation for the players who have put in tons of time. I don't want just some, special cloak or a special ghost shell. I want something where I can be, I can feel good about myself. Like, yeah, okay, cool. I've got this guy. You can see his, his battle scars. You can see everything that, just something to reflect what I put into the game.
Mm-hmm.
So when people bump into me, like, oh man, this guy's been around from the start.
Yeah.
He's been around since day one. This guy he's been here forever. I think that's the thing that people want the most. So if you got people jumping into Destiny 2 for the first time ever that didn't play the first one, you don't want to be like sitting alongside those people and be like, hey, my guy isn't any different than theirs.
Yeah.
You want to have that reminder, I've been here from the start. And I think that's the one thing I want. Somehow to show that my character has been around a hell of a lot longer than the new guy that just signed up.
I mean, is something as simple like an emblem, like that like an emblem, like a legacy emblem that other people are not going to have? Like, is that sufficient? I mean, it's going to show that you were here from the beginning.
Yeah, but you see, the problem with that is if you get an emblem, you're going to have to make a lot of unique emblems then. Because if I have like 300, 400 hours in, I've beaten the raids X amount of times, I've done X amount of strikes, and some guy jumped in, just now in the Rise of Iron, and he gets ranked up, he's only got maybe 200 hours, maybe 100 hours when Destiny 2 comes out. I still want to be separated from them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to do something to really separate the people who have been there from the beginning, that have poured a ton of time into it. And you're going to have like layers, for the amount of time. It's just going to be very tricky. I'm curious to see what they do to compensate people.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to rack my brain, and I don't know what the best way to. I mean, I guess that's why they get paid to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They get paid to design these games and figure it out. But I honestly don't know. Like, I don't know Like sitting here right now, I don't have like a great suggestion. Like, I mean, what if they gave you something at like one of these new outposts? Like they gave you your own, I don't know, your own station or whatever that you could customize, or you had like an Oryx trophy in there or something because you defeated Oryx. Like I don't know.
No. I don't want an Oryx trophy sitting in there because I beat Oryx. Like I said, it's, and that's just me bitching as a gamer. Like, you put a bunch of this whole thing would be avoided if they just said, yeah, we're bringing your characters over.
Yeah.
But it just make. I mean, and we don't know a thing yet if they're going to do that. These are just things that that have been reported. They haven't finalized any of these decisions. So in the end, they might just say, oh yeah, we found a way. We just had to add some stuff here, and now we can bring your character over. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah.
But if they don't, I just hope they do something really in depth and not just a quick one time. Here you go.
Yeah, and once again, Bungie has not finalized anything in terms of old characters, as Jason reported. So this is all in the planning, and Bungie knows this stuff. Like they know people have poured hundreds and hundreds of hours into these characters, and people are very attached to their guardians. Like they know that stuff. Like, they understand that, so they know that that's something that they're gonna have to deal with Destiny too. And it's there's a lot of different thoughts in my mind about this as well, man. Like I got the same feeling as you, like the idea of the 10-year plan and taking your guardian from year 1 all the way through year 10. Like that's really exciting. That was one of the things I was really intrigued about with Destiny. But I mean, we know, at least at the beginning, Destiny was a tumultuous experiment. We've read about how the game has changed and how the narrative has changed and how they had to go in there and change all the stuff at the 11th hour. So, Bungie or Destiny is a game that has not gone exactly as planned from the beginning. So, if they have to do this for the greater good of the franchise, like in order for them to take the Destiny 2 steps that they want to take, if they have to overhaul everything and we're not able to bring our characters over for the greater good, like I think I can deal with that. And whatever the compensation is, we'll have to see what that is. But the other part of it is, I think it'd be more of an issue if your character was actually a character.
Right.
Like your guardian's he's just a vessel for you to experience Destiny with. He doesn't have a personality. He doesn't really say anything. He doesn't have any. It's not like Mass Effect where you create
there's no origins to him. There's you don't even know where the hell this. You just know you were laying next to a busted up, rusted out car, and the ghost brought you back. That's all you know about yourself.
Exactly.
I get that point. I'll give you that. That's a good point.
So this is not like a Shepherd that you've gone through 80 hours of narrative experience with, and you're bringing him over to the next Mass Effect. Like this is not. This is somebody who has no personality at all. So
But I see that's the thing. But I think the thing when and I agree with that. But I think your characters, the personality of your character is you, because the game is such an online experience made to be played with other people. Everyone knows, the dude's a hunter, and that's why I'm the hunter, and that's the character I like to roll with, and that's the character I want to take all through Destiny. And granted, you spend 90, 100 hours in Mass Effect. I've spent over 400 hours playing Destiny.
Yeah,
that's a long time. That's a really, really long time for an online game to be playing, something like Destiny. And it's just, I don't know, man. I'm so indifferent on it. Like, I understand why they want to do it. It's just, I'm just worried about the compensation, man. That's the thing.
I'm with you, dude. I'm conflicted on it as well. I like you said, it's. I say that the characters don't have personalities, and they don't. It's like if you lose this character, it's not a big deal. It's not about losing the character. It's about just, this is you. This is who you are in Destiny. Like, this is your Destiny character. Regardless of what he does or doesn't say during the story missions. Like, this is the guy that you've taken from day one when you woke up next to that rusty car. When you spent the whole first year with Peter Dinklage, you spent the whole second year and years moving forward with Nolan North. Like, this is the guy you've been with since day one. This is the guy you've put new raid gear on. This is the guy you've found that helmet you were finally trying to get that you put on. This is the guy you first got Gallarhorn with. Like, this is the guy that you've done all of this stuff over the years with, and I get that, and I have that same feeling as well. So it's one of conflict, man. And there's lots of weapons and things that we've accumulated over the years that we love, that we'd like to carry on with our character and keep building up and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of questions, but at the end of the day, if for the greater good of the Destiny franchise, we have to lose our characters, and they can come up with some type of a cool solution to start Destiny 2 with as a legacy player, I feel like that's something I can deal with, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's something I'll get over. It's hard right now because especially right now as we're like knee deep in Rise of Iron. We're like fully invested in this game right now, so it's hard to think about that. But I just feel like, if this is a Diablo 1 to Diablo 2 thing, and if Destiny is going to be that much better, and this is just what they have to do because they have to overhaul the system to get the game to where that they want to where they want it to be, then I feel like I can get over it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, man. We'll see how the characters turn out. That is going to be a very divisive issue with Destiny 2 moving forward. Let's talk about these play-in destinations, though, man. We've got a brief rundown of it here from Jason. This idea of an area that's more populated with towns, outposts, and quests that are more interesting than the patrol missions. Talk to me about these play-in destinations, man. What are you thinking right now in terms of what they are?
Do it. that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I think that sounds, because I think.
So what are we talking about here? Is this like a full blown like RPG town, or what? What are we actually talking about here?
I imagine it like Far Cry. Like you have this expansive world where you have these outposts that you got to overtake, and then once you overtake them, they become shops where you can buy equipment and buy gear. But maybe put the Cryptarch at one outpost, and then another spot is where you'll find shacks. Just different areas, and then maybe quests, just people standing around. Hey, can you help me with this? I think they mentioned later on that the focus is going to be on Saturn. So just have a bunch of areas on Saturn for you to explore. And I think the plus side of that is when you look at the Dreadnought and when you look at the Cosmodrome, there are hidden areas that we discovered. Mm-hmm. But because it wasn't such a big area, there was only so much Destiny could do, or that Bungie could do in terms of like putting secrets in there and whatnot. I think if they had this massive world, I think you have the potential of having a lot more secrets to find. More public events that are a little bit more unique to the surrounding area that they take place in. I mean, there's a lot of potential with that, and I love that idea. I think that sounds fantastic. That sounds like an MMO, like you would with like Final Fantasy 14 or Elder Scroll Online. You just have a huge area with cities that you visit that have vendors, that have people that need help with quests, and I think that'll make things more unique in terms of the quests. You don't have these 4 or 5 mission types that you just kind of hammer out and you've done them over and over again. Hopefully the more unique quests because you have more areas to explore. I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm all for that too, man. I'm really obviously pumped to hear more about play-in destinations, but yeah, if they're able to come up with a new social space or a new play-in space that's a little more interesting than patrols are the way they currently sit, I'm all for that, man. Like that sounds awesome. Something I really want to learn more about. And then we kind of talked about this, man, but man, 750 plus employees working on Destiny 2. Multiple studios being brought in. We know High Moon, we know Vicarious Visions now. Who knows who else Activision is pulling in or will pull into this game. The other thing I wanted to mention though is Luke Smith, man. He's the guy that kind of steered the ship with the Taken King. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing that kind of it really took Destiny to the next level. Destiny 1. Like, Destiny 1 really took off with the Taken King. I mean, obviously it was a huge game when it first came out, but it brought in so many more people. It changed the narrative around Destiny with the Taken King. Like the story was better, the systems were better, the loot systems were better, the gear was better, the raids were better. It's like everything was taken to the next level with the Taken King, and I feel like at that point they were like, all right, Luke Smith, like you're the guy to lead this ship. Like what you did with the Taken King, we now need you to do with Destiny 2. So, they've talked about he's gone in. He's the director of Destiny 2, and in fact, he rebooted the story that had been written up to that point after he took over Destiny 2. So more rebooting with the narrative. After the response to the Taken King and to that narrative, I feel like they had a better idea of maybe where they wanted to take things with Destiny 2. So good for Luke to get over there and start overhauling things with Destiny 2. And I'm really excited about that with him being at the helm, after the way the Taken King turned out. I mean, it was just such a just such a full scale renovation of Destiny 1 within the framework of Destiny 1. It was just the way they did it was very clever, just very well done. They were able to overhaul that game and make it even better than it already was. But what do you think, man, with Luke Smith at the helm of Destiny 2?
I like it a lot because I thought the Taken King, Luke Smith did a great job with the story. I mean, there was a sense of urgency in the story. It was a good, engaging story. It was a taut story, and not only that, but you had a lot of moments of levity. You had some good comedy, not comedy, but just moments of levity. So, stuff to laugh at. Some smart writing, some very clever writing to get the most out of Cade 6. He also managed to stage a hell of a space battle at the beginning, with Oryx's fleet and the Queen. I mean, you had some exciting moments. You had some awesome cutscenes that were high energy, very exciting stuff. And it was a lengthy campaign that was engaging from start to finish. There was some awesome cliffhangers. I mean, I just feel like Luke Smith is very good at just taking the reins and making it an exciting experience. There were some laughs to be had. There were some intense moments. I just thought he did a fantastic job, and I think he is the right choice to lead Destiny 2. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things I was most excited about reading this story, is seeing that Luke, I hadn't really thought about it at the time, but seeing that he was the guy that's steering Destiny 2, I feel like the game's in good hands. And man, something I want to see, and I've kind of talked about this before, but I want to see I'm just gonna call them grimoire quests. I want to see stuff like I mentioned. It would be cool if Destiny 2 began with us watching the fall of the Golden Age, when the darkness first comes, and the fall of civilization. It would be cool to experience that. It would be cool to, as you're collecting these grimoire cards, to unlock quests that you can then follow along, or these little mini narratives, maybe last 1 or 2 hours, as you gain, say you gain an entire series of grimoire cards, and it unlocks the story of Tex Mechanica or the Iron Lords. Then you can then go back and play through this quest, like a little mini narrative. I think that would be awesome, because there's so much rich lore in Destiny. There's a lot of things in the grimoire cards that people never get to see, because they're and that's something I'm sure they're working to fix with Destiny 2. But all that stuff's offsite on your phone or on the computer.
Right.
So there's a lot of that stuff, and that's some of the most interesting stuff about Destiny. Is there's this very, very rich universe that we don't get to always see, because the narrative's not always up to snuff with Destiny. So yeah, so to see where they're going to take things narratively is going to be really exciting with Destiny 2, man.
I can't wait for it, man. I hope we hear a lot more about it. I mean, if it's slated for a late 2017, I mean, I got to believe the PlayStation Experience would be a nice spot for a teaser.
Be nice, man.
And then go into that full reveal at E3. So
yeah.
But let's shift over from Kotaku to one of our favorite Twitter people, Shinobi. He had quite a bit of information as well. He actually revealed a little bit more information. He confirmed a lot of the stuff that Jason Schreier from Kotaku was talking about. But
yeah, and then he built on top of that with apparently a lot of the stuff that he's heard as well.
Yeah, so we'll go over what Shinobi had to say. But he said, yeah, it's coming to PC. From what I've been told, the decision to restructure was made thanks to a major memory ceiling being reached on last gen with regard to the Rise of Iron expansion, which was set to launch in the spring, not fall. Bungie decided to push out Destiny 2 since it was behind and needed much more iteration, and took advantage of the Rise of Iron delays to use that as the content stopgap for the fall of this year.
Interesting.
Destiny 2 is being overhauled so they can build upon it in the future without having to work within the framework limitations that Destiny 1 set up. Right now, the way things play out, they have to introduce play spaces so that players can engage in systems or activities, but it creates a huge barrier that must be overcome on both the networking and design side, so they're going to do more open play spaces that incorporate towns, outposts, and whatnot into more common areas. This means fewer hardlines for areas and having them be gated by menus. The goal is to have players conducting things and making activity decisions while still in control of their character, instead of having to exit out into an activity hub. Think of World of Warcraft. You hit a button and queue into your activities you want to do while you're still playing as your character. That's pretty sweet. I like that idea. Instead of having to go up to orbit,
Mm-hmm.
you can just queue up the raid, or you can queue up a strike, and as you're running around handling your business, boom, you get a notification, hey, your raid's ready, which is another very MMO-like feature.
Yeah.
That's something, I've seen that in Final Fantasy 14. I've seen
Yeah.
it in Neverwinter.
Yeah.
Like, you just queue it up and you wait and you're good to go. This way
DC
you don't
Universe,
have to go up to orbit.
all those games.
Yeah, you don't have to go to orbit to select a strike and then come back. You just queue it up from where you're at. I like the idea. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds really. I was going to ask you about that, and that's what it seemed like. So you're just going to be in this open space, and then I guess you just pull up the menu as you're right there, and then you can just go right to the area that you want to go to.
Mhm.
So these play spaces then are they going to be like, just I guess the way you mentioned it, like a Far Cry thing. So it seems like they're gonna have the NPCs and the town aspects of it, but there's also going to be missions and like gunplay within these as well. You think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be like what we see now, like the Cosmodrome, for example.
Yeah.
Just imagine it's the Cosmodrome, but much, much bigger. You can explore all the areas that you see. You've got outposts and towns,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of grabbing a marker off the ground to pick up a boring-ass mission, you can go talk to a vendor, or you can talk to an NPC that has a mission for you to do, and then after you're done doing your missions, you pull up your menu, hey, let's go do this strike. Queue it up, your team's with you, and then when it's ready to go, it pulls you up, and you're out.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, man.
That sounds a hell of a lot better than going to orbit, even though I like going to orbit to show off my ship once in a while.
Yeah.
If you got a nice ship, I want to go up to orbit.
Maybe,
or if you're
maybe
just sitting there chilling, you just want to watch the plane. Just want to look at the planet Earth from above.
Yeah.
You want to enjoy the view. I like that too.
maybe we'll see some space battles this next one.
Oh man!
Huh?
After what we saw in the Taken King videos, the cutscenes, I would love to see some space battles.
Yeah, definitely.
Shinobi also went on to talk about major narrative changes are on board for Destiny 2, both in terms of plot direction, pacing, and structure. Major focus is going to be on the Cabal and Saturn, which makes sense, seeing as that huge cliffhanger, little tidbit of information from the Taken King. Hey, a signal has been sent to the Cabal. It's been sent to their leadership. Their leadership's probably on Saturn. Saturn as a play space is set to be bigger than all of the play spaces currently implemented in the game combined.
All right, so let me get this straight. When he's saying bigger than all of the play spaces currently implemented in the game combined, is he talking about the Cosmodrome, Venus, Mars, the Dreadnought, the Plagueland? Is he talking about all? Is that what we're talking about for play spaces, like patrol areas? Is that what we're talking about?
That's what I'm taking that as. I don't know. I mean, it could be something else, but I mean, if he says it's bigger than all the play spaces currently implemented in the game combined,
Man.
I'm assuming he's talking about, like you said, the Cosmodrome, the Plaguelands, the Dreadnought. Putting all those together, Saturn's going to be bigger than all those.
Wow. So
that's huge.
That's enormous. So let's think about that. There's the Cosmodrome on Earth. There's the Moon.
Venus.
There's Venus. There's Mars. There's the Dreadnought and the Plaguelands. Is that all of them? 6?
I think yes.
Okay. So there's those 6 spaces, and then I wonder if they're also talking about the Tower and the Reef and the Temple.
Those places aren't too massive.
Yeah.
But what the hell? Let's throw them in there anyways. We'll just assume that those are included.
Dude, I already get lost in the play spaces or the patrol missions or the patrol areas that we have. Like I still can't navigate my way around a lot of these places. So that's huge.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
That's gigantic.
And now the concern with that is you want to make sure there's stuff to do.
Yeah.
In that area. I mean, if you want to have the outposts a little bit further apart, cool, but make sure there's, you've got your public events taking place in between. You've got your roaming enemy squads wandering about. I mean, stuff for you to do in between, and that's where I think they can really expand on those like secret areas that you can find, that you can come across, or hidden chests and stuff like that sprinkled throughout to keep the spots in between the towns and the outposts very busy, so there's a lot to do.
Yeah. Sounds epic.
So we'll continue with Shinobi. This is in large part of the scale of play spaces being redesigned, so it'll be both bigger and denser with activities.
Like you were
There's
just
a
saying.
There's a reason Guardians take the fight to Saturn.
Is Saturn the Cabal homeworld? I mean,
My understanding, I think
obviously they were on Mars, but
Mm-hmm.
is that like where their like base is?
I'm assuming it is because obviously Saturn's a huge world. They mentioned that the Cabal are the main focus here. I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard them mention in the game that
Mm-hmm.
Cabal are on Saturn. I'd have to go back and play the Taken King quest where they talk about that, but I don't know where the Cabal are, where their home area is. I'm assuming it has something to do with Saturn, though.
So there's a lot of ways they could go with the narrative here, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
you just talked about the Cabal and Saturn, but we're going to have dangling threads with the Hive.
Mm-hmm.
Where do they go now that their leadership has been dissipated? What goes on with Eris? We saw at the end of the Taken King. That's a thread
Yep.
that they're going to have to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
With the Fallen, we've now we haven't finished the raid yet, but we'll have to go through that and see where the Fallen are at the end of that. And they've experimented with the Siva virus. Their houses have been dispersed. As
Mm-hmm.
as there's been unrest in the ranks. So there's everything going on with that. The Cabal, like you mentioned, there was that distress signal sent out to what you assume was their leader, or the Cabal homeworld, wherever the hell that is. So you
Mm-hmm.
assume that was sent out. So and then the Vex. Like, what's going on with the Vex? We haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah, and I mean, I wonder if this plays into what they mentioned earlier, how some characters just won't be in the next one. I mean, the Hive have been beaten to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Hive just see themselves out for a while. I mean, they talk about certain characters will not be might not make it into Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Hive got beat up. The Vex could be one of the new characters that they build up on. Maybe there's new factions you got to deal with. Maybe there's a whole new enemy race that shows up on this. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do with Destiny 2.
Yeah.
And why force the Hive in there? I mean, the Hive have been dissipated. They've been wiped out. I mean, they've been dealt a heavy blow with Oryx being gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting.
I just think there could be a really interesting story there with a power vacuum that's been created now that
Mm-hmm.
Crota and Oryx are no longer there. Like, who is going to step up to lead the Hive now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not just gonna go away. I mean, these are evil dudes who have evil things to do in the universe. So they're gonna wanna reinforce their ranks, and I think there could be a really interesting story there about who ascends to the Hive throne.
Well, that could be interesting. I feel like that's a Destiny 3 thing.
Mm. Oh, look at you! Look at you getting that 10-year plan to use.
I know, right? I know. The next area that Shinobi touched on, he had to say major changes to the engine are occurring. Their render tech has gone through some major iteration thanks in large part to getting to approach it without having last gen as a limit. Because of this, they are still undecided what, if any, of Destiny's old content, both in terms of play space areas, strikes, and raids, will be available through Destiny 2. There is talk in possibly allowing Destiny 1 remain as its own client, which flies against how Destiny currently operates, whereas the new content renders the old client and content obsolete.
So basically, every time we get like a Taken King or a Rise of Iron or something like that, like a new Destiny client comes out, and that kind of takes over the old client. So there's just the one Destiny client.
Right. The live team has been going through some iterations so that they may continue to support Destiny with content after a major content drop, but they are stuck between a rock and a hard place. The live team is trying to support a game running on an old engine with its older tools, whereas the bulk of development is on the engine framework and enjoying new tools. Because of this, the live team is largely handcuffed, so don't really expect a whole lot of post-launch content for Destiny 1 in the next year. What do you think about that, dude?
There's a lot of interesting stuff in this part here. The stuff with the live team, and that's something we've been concerned about. Like, we don't know when we're going to get Destiny 2, and we assume that Rise of Iron is going to be the last big content drop for the game. So there is some concern about what they're going to do in the game leading up to Destiny 2. So it sounds like, according to Shinobi, maybe not a lot. Maybe they have, I'm picturing they maybe have a small offshoot team that's putting together content, maybe like quests they can drop here and there, new gear, like new exotics and things they can add to the game via like a quest line that they can constantly add to the game. Like, I feel like it wouldn't be too much of an issue there to kind of have a small team dedicated to that, to constantly putting stuff like that into the game. But yeah, it sounds like, we were thinking maybe we'll get an April update. something along those lines. We get a new strike and they kind of overhaul some of the stuff, bring the prison back, that kind of stuff. We were thinking maybe we get something like that at some point, but I don't even know if we're gonna get that according to what Shinobi said with the
Mm-hmm.
with the live team here. So I'm intrigued by that. Also, I'm intrigued by this idea of Destiny 1 and what happens to it, man. Like, what happens to all the stuff that's in that game? What happens to all the people that are playing that game? If
Mm-hmm.
indeed this is something where, you have to migrate to Destiny 2 if they're not going to be able to kind of integrate this experience the way they might have once wanted to. Like, what does
Mm-hmm.
this mean for Destiny 1? What do you think about that, man? Like, is this going to be a big issue with all the people that are currently playing Destiny 1?
Well, yeah, especially, I mean, once Destiny 2 comes out, I mean, say people aren't ready to make the jump or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
basically between now and Destiny 2, that he's saying don't expect too much. I got to believe once Destiny 2 comes out, there won't be anything for Destiny 1 except for the content that's already there. In terms of what to do in Destiny 1, I wonder if this will go back to what they talked about a couple weeks ago, how it's not completely off the table, that they're still thinking about maybe updating the older raids, Crota and the Vault of Glass.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be something, like you said, would be a good April update, upgrade the raids, update the raids so they got taken, or however you want to do it, the splicer element added to it, or like you said, bring back the Prison of Elders, make it a little bit more difficult, add some of the new stuff to that as well, just to kind of, so you kind of just bring everything together. Everything is included, all the old stuff is new again, and you've just got, okay, let's hammer out these new raids and do what we need to do for the rest of the year. But and like I said, the live team, hopefully they can drip out some new quests here and there just to keep people interested. But it's going to be difficult, once everyone starts beating the raid on heroic, and they get
Mm-hmm.
past the meat of the Rise of Iron. It's going to be interesting to see what Bungie does, if anything, to keep players engaged for that year until it supposedly comes out in late 2017.
I mean, is that a sacrifice you think that they should and maybe need to make? Is like, if in order for them to make the Destiny 2 that they want to make, they have to kind of cut off Destiny 1 more or less for the better part of the next year. Like, is that
Yeah,
something you think they should do?
I mean, it sucks, but I mean it's just the way it is. I mean, like you said, like they've said, most of that staff of 750 plus is working on Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you want to sit there and update the raids and update the Prison of Elder, and you still got your year 3 moments of triumph that are going to come into play.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to probably drop that before Destiny 2 launches. I mean, you'll have people that'll jump back into it, kind of get reinvigorated with the series. If they take a break, when they get done with everything that the Rise of Iron has to offer, come back later in the year. Hopefully they have like an April update where they update some certain things, and then come back for the moments of triumph, and then you get everyone excited again, and boom, there you are into Destiny 2. How much content, though, they have between the end of this year and the launch of Destiny 2 will be, I mean, we've seen what happens when the Destiny community, runs short on stuff to do. They become very vocal. And Bungie will be in a hot seat. They'll have to, I mean, and if anything, that's going to make the delivery of Destiny 2 even more important.
Yeah.
I mean, if you make people wait and you don't have the content, you better come out with more content than you did in Destiny 1.
Mm-hmm.
When Destiny 2 comes out, you better have a hell of a lot more content, especially if you make people wait.
Yeah, just talking with you here about it, I'm thinking more and more that they need to have like a small offshoot team that's just constantly putting little things into the game. Like, little things
Mm-hmm.
can go along with, like, putting new quests or raising the light level every now and then, or just maybe throwing a new strike in there. Like, I don't expect that we'll get a full scale raid again before Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
But if maybe they can pop out a new strike, remaster one of the old strikes, or just work with the stuff that they already have, like the Prison of Elders, work with the assets they've already created to kind of bring
Mm-hmm.
that stuff up to snuff. Like, I feel like that is maybe a good stopgap option as we get
Mm-hmm.
over to Destiny 2, because that stuff's already in the game. And once again, I'm not a programmer, so I'm sure it's much more difficult than I'm making it out to be. But if the assets are there, they've done it once before. So it seems like in order for them to update the prison wouldn't be too much of an issue. And I'm always down for an updated prison, man. I love that mode. It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
most fun modes in the game. So if they can keep updating that, like, I'd be totally down for that. And this is one of the really interesting stories with Destiny 2, is what happens to Destiny 1. What eventually, whatever Destiny 2 becomes, how are they going to walk the tightrope with managing Destiny 1 and Destiny 2? Like, are they just going to have to simultaneously work both of these for a while? Are they gonna just migrate people over? Are they gonna figure out a way to integrate the clients? Like it's gonna be very interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. And then moving on to the last couple sections here that Shinobi had to talk about. He mentions, however, starting with the launch of Destiny 2, we will see far more substantial content dropping in the time between yearly releases, as the game and engine and live team have all been planned to support that going forward. The team is aware that they need more substantial content throughout the year, not just at the end of it. If they do drop Destiny 1 content, it likely won't be permanent. They might reintroduce areas in a more Destiny 2 fleshed out way. So we might lose temporary access to these places, then regain it, or have to fight back for control of it at a later point in the plot. This means we'll get to see older areas or activities through the perspective of the newer content, which also means the older areas might expand considerably by the time we get back to them, since the design goal for the play spaces is now to make them both way bigger and way denser with activities. So, say if they go with Destiny 2, they kind of, you can't access certain areas of Destiny 1, but once they do implement them back into the game, maybe you have to go back there and fight off the new Fallen Lords or whatever that have taken over the Cosmodrome. But the Cosmodrome, you will finally be able to explore more of it than you currently can. Mm-hmm. And I think that sounds cool. Whatever they have to do to kind of transition over, to kind of update the older play spaces to make them feature rich in more of a Destiny 2 type of way.
Yeah, that all sounds good to me, man. Especially the part about more substantial content dropping in between the yearly releases.
Yes.
So, if they're able to create a system or a framework with Destiny 2 where they can crank out that stuff more consistently, that's going to keep people hooked on this game like 24/7, 365 if they're able to pump out that kind of content. So, it's both exciting and scary to think about, because I'm one of the people that could be subject to that. I could just be, if they're constantly dropping new stuff with Destiny, I could easily find myself just playing it every day.
You can tell these types of games are still, new on these developers. I mean, it's a tough genre to support, and I mean, they're kind of learning as they go. Bungie's learning as they go, and if you look at Ubisoft with The Division, they learned the hard way. They're still learning
the
hard way.
Yeah.
But they're awesome concepts. I just think we're in the early stages of seeing them, expand and become what they really should become. Because in all intents and purposes, The Division should be really, really good. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of potential there. But again, not a lot of content to do, and you keep doing the same things over and over again. Especially if you put in 400 hours, it is going to become repetitive.
Yeah.
So the importance of new, more substantial, more constant drops of quests and missions and whatnot is very, very important for these types of games.
The thing about The Division too is, man, it's like you had Destiny come before you. So for you to then come out and repeat the same mistakes, I mean, on top of all of your own mistakes, but to repeat the same mistakes that Destiny made is a little strange. It's like they jumped into the fire for you. They went through some of these things, so...
But I think what they probably saw that Destiny had issues, but damn it still did really, really well.
Yeah.
And they probably figured, hey, we could jump in with these same issues and it'll do really, really well. But unfortunately, it backfired big time for The Division. And they're still they've been delaying stuff left and right. I mean, they still have like expansion packs that aren't out yet.
Yeah, I think they're only on the first expansion pack still, right? I don't think they've got the second one.
It's been a rough go. Yeah, it's been a rough go for The Division.
Yeah, so maybe with The Division, it was less so that maybe not that they didn't learn from Destiny's mistakes, but that they just made so many of their own mistakes and had so many issues with their own game that's just kind of derailed it at this point.
Mm-hmm. And then the last section that Shinobi mentioned was new races and factions are planned. No idea what's happening with regards to classes, however. New enemies within factions are also going to be introduced. Take the Scions for the Cabal, for example. They are going to get fleshed out in Destiny 2. So those annoying dudes with their waves of void damage.
Void waves, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be fleshed out more in Destiny 2, which is cool because I always thought the Cabal were their own thing. I mean, you had the big dudes, those were the Cabal. And then you just kind of had these little Scion guys running around. Even though they're a part of the Cabal missions, I never ever looked at them and saying, oh, they're Cabal. Mm-hmm. Because the Cabal, you think of the big dudes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear, we'll get to hear a little bit more about the Scions to find out what they are and why they're hanging out with these big Cabal guys. Because, I mean, they're two different types of enemies. They really are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and there's I don't think there's any question that with Destiny 2 we're going to see new races and new factions and new
Hmm.
subclasses. Like that's all got to be a part of Destiny 2. I mean
Oh yeah.
that's just basic sequel 101. It's like you're gonna take the stuff that people liked or take the systems and expand on and make them more.
Hmm.
So it'll be exciting to think about, what other elements we'll be able to take control of. Like maybe it'll be an ice subclass or a
Hmm.
poison subclass or something like that. They'll be
Hmm.
able to get into. It'll be exciting to see what new factions and races they bring into this. And think about the Cabal is they're the most underdeveloped of all of the alien
Oh,
races in
absolutely.
Destiny. You
Hmm.
know, for all intents and purposes, the mainline Destiny story was about the Vex.
Hmm.
They were the primary villain. They were the people behind the very first raid, the kind of big capper on vanilla Destiny.
Hmm.
We've seen several expansion packs dedicated to the Hive and to the Fallen. Like they've
Hmm.
had lots of storylines going on with those guys. Um, and up to this last one, this was a Fallen theme with the Rise of Iron.
Hmm.
But the Cabal, they've yet to receive a character focused expansion pack. They were the least developed in mainline Destiny, so there's a lot to do with the Cabal that we haven't seen yet. So I think it's cool that they're going to be one of the stars of allegedly one of the
Hmm.
stars of Destiny 2.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see them built. Because I love the Cabal. The headshots on the Cabal are my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. But so that's our breakdown of what we got from Kotaku and from Shinobi. Obviously, none of this stuff is finalized, but a lot of stuff has been, confirmed between the two sources that they've been getting. A lot of this information, seems credible, and
hmm
a lot of it sounds very cool. Some of it, there's a lot of questions.
Overall, do you like what you're hearing about Destiny 2 right now?
Well, I mean, I do absolutely. I mean, I love, like I said, the idea of bigger play spaces with more stuff to do. That's more dense with enemies and outposts and towns and missions. That stuff sounds awesome because that was one of the biggest issues I had with Destiny. Even after all the expansions, it's just the patrol areas were just they got repetitive really quick, and you explored them,
hmm
and every nook and cranny about them now. But hearing that sounds awesome. Like I said, my biggest concern will be how they handle bringing characters over. If they don't, how are they going to compensate for the people that have put in a lot of time? I mean, that's my biggest concern. But exploring all new areas, new classes, new races, all that stuff, I would expect from a sequel to Destiny 2. Bigger and better, but just keep everything in place that's worked. The gameplay, the solid mechanics,
hmm
the cooperative experiences, the raids, all that stuff. Keep everything that people love about Destiny and build upon that. Don't try to build something new in those areas.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if the worst thing we have to worry about is not being able to carry over our character,
Hmm.
you know, but if it's a better game in the end, I'm with it.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple other Destiny nuggets here. There were some new a hotfix came out this week for the Rise of Iron. Fixed quite a few issues, including removing the Omnigul exploit. That is no longer there, where you can, when you first run into Omnigul, if you tether her and then just beat the hell out of her with your swords and rockets, you can actually kill her, and she would drop two already decrypted items
Yeah.
that were like 365, and then you could get yourselves killed right there, and then go back and keep doing it over and over again before the next checkpoint. Now, if you kill her, you have to actually finish the raid before you get any more drops from her, right?
Yeah, you gotta go through, finish the strike. Basically, the way it's worded, Omnigul will now drop rewards once during a strike, and will require the strike to be finished to drop additional rewards.
Okay, so yeah, if you happen to kill her there, she'll drop rewards. But then if you do it again, she's not going to drop anything
hmm
until you get to the very end and beat her, and then she'll drop some more.
Right.
So you're going to have to finish the raid if you want to try to get her to drop two more times the next time. So
The other nice thing is the drop rates in the Archon's Forge have increased. I've witnessed
good.
that personally. I've been in there, got some nice items from there. So that is a viable upgrade strategy right now. Is the Archon's Forge?
Hmm. Also, Trials of Osiris is back right now.
It's back right now, right?
Yeah, it's back right now. This weekend coming up, Iron Banner returns. Boys, what are some of the changes that have been made to the Iron Banner?
This is what we're looking at now for the new and improved Rise of Iron Banner. By the way, um, it's probably obvious, but Saladin will be in the Iron Temple, so you go visit him there. He
Okay.
will not be in the tower anymore. Um, but the tempered mechanic is gone, so you can play when you want. There are now 4 weekly bounties. Bounty rewards include an Iron Banner item not featured on the vendor, so that's cool. So they're gonna have the stuff you can buy as you rank up in the Iron Banner, but there's also going to be rewards through the bounties that you can get an item that's not for sale at the
Nice.
vendor. A chance at an Iron Banner artifact or vanity item, 25 legendary marks, and 750 Iron Banner reputation. Those are the bounty rewards. A victory in a match grants 250 reputation, and Iron Medallions grant 150 reputation each upon victory.
Hmm.
And they've showed us a couple of the things that are going to be available in the Iron Banner. And I don't know about you, man, but I want this auto rifle and this shotgun, and this armor looks really badass too. It's got this kind of it's got the Saladin look to it. It's got the Iron Lord look to it, but it's got this Game of Thrones like armor look to it as well. It looks awesome.
What's the auto rifle stats? What's it do?
No stats on it yet.
Okay, looks pretty sweet though.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know. It looks like something like somebody would have just created in like a shack out in the forest. Like they just forged some items together. There's like a I don't know. It looks like a bearskin pelt that wraps around like the barrel of it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's got like rope and twine wrapped around a lot of the areas of it. It's got this cool looking scope on it. It's got some type of a blade or something on top of the barrel as well. So yeah, it's got chains
Is there
that
a
go
name
around
on
as
it?
well. No name on it.
Huh.
And then the shotgun looks like it's got a bayonet on it. Just
Oh.
looks like a tube with like a knife attached to it. It's a very crude looking shotgun. It's pretty cool though. I like it.
Have they ever made it so you can use your bayonet on somebody? I
I
always
don't
see
know.
my guns have bayonets on, but I never actually
Yeah,
attack with them.
yeah. With the bayonets, I'm not sure. I don't know if they would change the melee animation or not. Probably not.
I wish they would, because some of those, like the Red Dead, I would love to just put that through somebody's chest.
Yeah, I mean some of these like this shotgun looks intense, man. This blade is pretty nasty on there.
So yeah, those are the changes you can expect from the Iron Banner, which again begins this week on Friday. And then we talked about this last week, how people are trying to break down this. I tell you, this is where Reddit comes in clutch. Everyone's the Outbreak Prime has finally been discovered.
Which is
Is
a
this a
sweet
scout rifle?
name.
Is it a pulse
It's a
rifle?
pulse rifle with a sweet ass name and some sweet ass stats too.
Yeah, this thing looks awesome. The one we saw in the video of the people that found it was, I think it was 390 light level on it.
Yeah, I believe that's what it's dropping at. 5 above the current max light level, which is interesting.
Wow.
Get you ready for the hard mode when the light level will be bumped up to 400.
I believe that thing will be a nightmare in Crucible as well, and
Oh yeah,
Iron Banner.
yeah.
So,
That thing's going to be beastly.
the amount of effort that took for people to figure this out is nothing short of absurd. It's seriously probably the most elaborate mission by far.
Yeah.
By far, the most elaborate quest to complete to get this gun, and all the binary code and all the stuff that went into play. God bless you people on Reddit. I love you guys. That's seriously just fantastic.
Dude, I wonder if Bungie's sitting there like man, we really thought we had him this time.
Bungie's like, man, we weren't expecting anyone to find this till the April update. This is awkward.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane that a week in, people have, and it all starts in the raid. There's a
Yep.
chest in the
Mhm.
raid that people couldn't figure out how to get to. So this is where it all began, and it all eventually unraveled into this big, huge, elaborate quest that ends with.
Did
you
you
getting
watch
this
the video?
Awesome gun.
The whole video, dude. It is. There's no way. There's no way we would have figured this out as a group.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
It is like literally the most ridiculous thing. Honestly, just watch it, because none of us will figure it out ever.
I didn't want to watch it because I didn't know how much of the raid was in it. So
It doesn't
we-
show you like
figure
how
we
to
would
beat
just-
anything in the raid. You see bits and pieces of it, but they're focusing on one small thing from each section.
Mhm.
You don't see any of the combat or like any of the how to figure out how to beat a boss. It just shows you certain areas to find these monitors that are
Mhm.
important. Dude, you need to watch it to really appreciate how absurd but how awesome this quest is.
Yeah.
Like it is. I watched it and was just like, you got to be kidding me. Dude, there's binary code that you have to figure out to do this.
That's insane.
It is insane. But again, credit to the folks on Reddit who figured this out. That's what makes the Destiny community awesome.
Yeah.
Is everyone took all this information that they kept pouring in. They're like, okay, here's this. And then they were just nose to the grindstone, just hammering stuff out, figuring stuff out. And, one group picked it up and they ran away with it. And they got the Outback Prime, which is just a totally kick-ass pulse rifle. Or what do I call it? Outback? I'm hungry. I'm hungry for a steak.
The Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, the Outback Prime rib. The Outbreak Prime. So, it's a fantastic looking gun. It looks awesome, sounds awesome, and the quest to get it is just nothing short of absurd.
Crazy.
And then, boys, what's this? We got some information from senior designer Victoria Dolbaum about Destiny's future. Would you mind running us through this section here?
Yeah, there's a couple nuggets that were kind of sprinkled into the Bungie update this week. Thought we'd just pick them out and make note of it. But they said, in the weeks to come, we'll let you know when you can start the race to complete the heroic mode. Beyond that test of skill and execution, the bosses will have some challenges up their sleeves as well. So obviously what they're referring to is that challenge mode will be returning with the Wrath of the Machine raid, and also the heroic mode, which we obviously know is coming, will be on the horizon in the near future, probably sometime over the next month. I would think that we'll see both of these unleashed. And then you made mention of senior designer Victoria Dolbaum. This is what she had to say. We're looking into the way Destiny Rise of Iron rewards the completion of activities with items that will increase your light. Currently, our opinion is that ghosts and artifacts are dropping less frequently than intended. I think we can all agree with that. Making it difficult for players to reach higher light after 365. In the weeks to come, we'll be investigating a solution that provides alternate max light sources for these 2 slots. Additionally, when the heroic raid is released, many activities and all engrams will increase their maximum light, making it easier overall to progress. So I wonder if that means we'll get rid of some of these arbitrary caps on some of these engrams. That would be nice.
So.
A lot of people are up in arms about that. There's still more to come on this front. Stay tuned for more details announced alongside the activities that are yet to appear in your director. Now, this is what I wanted to hone in on here, Brent. Activities that are yet to appear in your director. Keep that feedback loop rolling. So obviously the director is Destiny's UI. It's what you go to get your quests and that kind of stuff. So there are things that are not yet in that director that will be, which means that, kind of like we were talking about earlier, like there's probably going to be some quests or some things that are being added by the live team or by the small team that's upkeeping Destiny 1 while the majority of Bungie is focused on Destiny 2. So how often they're able to do these things remains to be seen, but that gives us some hope that there's some more stuff to come here with after the Rise of Iron.
Man, a lot of Destiny talk this week. A lot of Destiny 2 rumors. There's a lot to extrapolate from all the information that we got, and there's a lot to think about, a lot to be excited about, a lot to be concerned about. Not a lot, but a couple things to be concerned about. But
it's questions. Questions about the future.
Questions that will eventually be answered in due time when Bungie's damn well ready to talk about it. I really think we'll see a teaser at PlayStation Experience. If in fact they still have the agreement in place, I believe they will.
Yeah.
And then obviously a full reveal, probably at E3, and then from there the hype train will just completely derail and go nuts. So, really excited, really interested, really intrigued. I'm still having fun with Rise of Iron, so I'm just focusing on that. I still got to do the raid.
Oh, dude, I'm looking forward to the raid, man. I can't wait.
I haven't done a Nightfall yet. Oh, well, Bender and I tried doing a Nightfall, the Wretched Eye, and we almost got through it with 2 people. But arc damage was on, and we just got wrecked towards the end. It just didn't work out very well. But
that battle is so intense.
It is ridiculously intense. And it was this week on the strike missions, it's Solar Burn. And when you're in there, all those damn Vandal snipers show up.
Yeah.
And the Dreg and the Shanks are all doing solar damage. And if you go in there super quick and you're launching your galleys and you're shooting your solar snipers, all of a sudden the ogre gets pissed off quicker. You got Shanks dropping down on it. When you have all these Vandal snipers, you got Shanks and you got a pissed off ogre, that mission gets pretty intense.
Dude, I watched that stream with you doing that in that Shield Brothers strike with the solar burn.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That was hellacious. If you watch the next day's stream, much better go.
Yeah, I watched the next one too.
We had a really good go that day. I think I had 5 or 6 missions where we got through all of them. And they weren't nearly as tough as that the day before. The video you watched, that was ugh.
Yeah, I think you guys were on that Shield Brothers strike for about an hour in and of itself.
I think we died like 10 times. Like, we had to restart like 10 times. It was brutal.
It was really intense.
Yeah, you can tell by my attitude. It was really intense.
I don't know about you, man, but I kind of like when Destiny throws that kind of stuff at you.
Mm-hmm.
I like trying this stuff over and over, and then when you finally get that victory, like the feeling that you get, like when we were going through that raid trying to get the moments of triumph, when we finally beat Oryx on hard mode after all of those tries, like that was like a great feeling. And a lot of the stuff with the raids that you go through, or I know that it was painful going through it, but when you finally got that victory, I know what that feels like when you finally reach that, and I kind of like that punishing aspect of Destiny.
See, it's cool, like you mentioned, Destiny. It'll throw you that curveball, and for the longest time, I was like, man, this is seriously weak. I hate this. But like you said, once you finally get into that rhythm with your squad and you're able to pull it off, you're like, okay, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's actually super rewarding, and you feel that deep sigh of relief. You're like, oh my god, finally we got through it. It's very rewarding, and it feels very, very good. But man, there were times where I was doubting. I'm like, this has to be a glitch, or this has to be broken. This is ridiculous. This is too hard.
Yeah.
But next day we persevered, and you can beat it. It's just it takes the right teamwork, and it takes smart decisions on your behalf. So,
indeed.
But we're going to take a quick break. We got some music here from Rual Ethan, and we'll be right back. welcome back. Thanks again to Ruel Ethan for providing the music for this podcast. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Ruel Ethan. Check out his music on SoundCloud or on iTunes. The guy's got just a ton of talent, and we appreciate him for constantly giving us new music for the show. I know our listeners love listening to it. Thanks again, Ruel. Really appreciate it. Boys, we're going to take a break from Destiny. We got some other news to talk about this week. First up, the NES Mini gets a new trailer, and Kotaku has some good news and bad news about it.
Indeed.
The good news, according to Kotaku, regarding the NES Mini, the system will let you maintain up to 4 different suspend points for each game. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's pretty sweet. And you'll also be able to see the original NES manuals by scanning QR codes that appear on your screen.
I like it.
Okay, cool. And then each game will be playable in 3 display modes. There's CRT filter, which adds a scan line effect. I don't know what the hell that is.
Basically, those horizontal lines you see on the old TV screens. Like if you were to go fire up an old CRT TV right now and play one of these old games, you can kind of see the scan lines in the game.
Gotcha. And then there's the 4:3, which maintains the original aspect ratio that you're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one I've never heard of. Maybe you can explain this to me. Pixel Perfect, which turns every pixel into a perfect square. Do you know what that is or no?
I don't know exactly what that means, but we've heard this term Pixel Perfect thrown around most recently in those Super Nintendo 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Games that we've seen coming out, the virtual console ones. They mentioned this idea of this pixel perfect mode. I'm guessing it's just a sharper image. It eliminates some of the softness around the edges.
Okay. So yeah, you'll have 3 different display modes when you're hooked up to your HD TV. Now, the bad news. Bob McKay over at US Gamer, he went hands-on with the NES Mini. And the controllers are wired, and the wires are very short.
I've heard this in multiple places, so this is going to be an issue.
Yeah. For myself, not so much because I play at a table, and so my system will be right there, and my controller will be right here, so I'll be okay with that. But if you're wanting to play like in a living room, you're going to have like a coffee table in front of you with your system there, and then a long HDMI cable to reach your TV. So have fun. And the other thing he mentioned is that in order to use save states or switch games, you have to hit the reset button on the console. There's no home button on the actual controller. Now, I guess that's not that big of a deal because if the wires are short, you're already gonna be close enough to hit reset.
Yeah. That's why they made the wires short, because you're gonna have to hit reset.
Yeah, you don't have to get up off the couch, walk across the room to hit the reset button. You're automatically close enough, which is a very strange way to compensate for having to use the reset button by shortening the cords. But keep in mind, this system is $60.
Yeah.
So this thing is for nostalgia. It's not being built for convenience.
I mean, I guess I just don't get why, if you're gonna do this, like, why not just do it? Like, why don't we have a longer cord? You have to know this is gonna be an issue. Like, I don't want to put this down here with my game stuff. Like, I want this upstairs in the living room so my wife and kids can play it. Like, a lot of people are going to be thinking the same thing. So I don't understand why we have short cords and we have to get up to hit the reset button. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know if they just want to just funnel that nostalgic experience with this stuff, but it just seems like if they were going to do this, like, why not go all the way and just at least give us a longer cord? I mean, if you got to get up and walk over to the system to hit reset, not that big of a deal. That's more of a laziness thing. But the controller link thing, like, I don't get that. Like, that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. And that's strange. And like I said, that was probably just their way of saying, hey, look, it'll make it easier to hit the reset button, which is a very strange logic to go by.
But now it's just that much harder to set the system up for people. Like, I'm thinking about my living room setup. Like, I have kind of a big awkward living room, and it's going to be difficult to find a place to put this thing where it's easily accessible for everybody and it's not just in a weird spot. So, I guess the NES Mini giveth and the NES Mini taketh away.
I mean, it's real simple, dude. You just put it under the TV mount. You put it on the TV stand. Get a couple bean bags, put it around the TV. There you go. Now you're in good order.
Just simple as that, eh?
Yeah, just throw dude. Everyone loves beanbags in the living room.
Oh yeah,
it's very welcoming.
it's a good look.
Yeah, it's where my in-laws should sit in the beanbags, enjoy your speed. It's comfy. So that's what you can expect from the NES Mini, which is not up for pre-order yet, is it?
No, that was another story that people were talking about this week. Is people want to get their hands on it, but it hasn't shown up anywhere yet.
I would like to find out pretty soon because that comes out the same day as the PlayStation Pro.
Yes,
November
it does.
11th.
Yep.
November 11th. So I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to pick up a PS4 Pro. I'm going to pick up an NES Mini. Yay me.
The thing I'm probably most excited about though is the fact that these games, the way they're going to look, it sounds like they're gonna really look good.
That's a good thing.
Even though they're old 8-bit games, but this pixel perfect mode or whatever emulation software they're able to use in this thing apparently looks better than the virtual console and puts a nice sharp picture on these old games. So that's pretty exciting.
Indeed, I'm excited for this thing. I mean, yeah, it's not obviously not built, in the best of ways, but for my setup, I mean, obviously, I would love to have it upstairs, and I probably still could. Our living room isn't very big, but it's all going to be dependent on those wires. Like, how short are we talking here? So
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see that. I mean, I would love to have it upstairs, like you said, to have for the family, for the kind of introduce Ethan into video games, the way I was, a bit more family friendly. So
At the end of the day, it's that's what it is for me, man. It's just kind of a family novelty thing. Like it's something I'll turn on and play for a couple minutes and be like, yeah, this is cool. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna want something that either links into my Nintendo account or not just something that's on this separate machine here. Like I'm gonna want to carry it with me on the NX, on the Go, or whatever. And so this is just gonna be like a novelty thing.
And see, had they gone the distance for the wireless controllers and a home button on the controller and all the bells and whistles, there's no way this thing is $60.
Yeah.
You're looking at $100 item or more, and I think that's Nintendo wasn't going that route. This is just like you said, a novelty item for you to put somewhere to enjoy these classic games. I don't think they view this as a centerpiece of your family room or your gaming center. It's just something. Hey, look, cool! I can play NES games over here. Yay!
Yeah. And that's great. I just don't know why the cord wasn't 3 feet longer.
Well, we'll find. I'm still grabbing one. I'm still excited to get one. I just hope the pre-order goes live pretty soon because I want to grab them because I'm pretty sure those are going to go pretty quick.
So it's a good possibility.
Very good possibility. We got some shooter news. First up, Infinite Warfare beta details have been revealed. For PlayStation 4, the beta will kick off its first week at 10 a.m. Pacific time on October 14th. It's expected to close again on October 17th, although Activision hasn't yet been clear on that point. The beta will then open to both PS4 and Xbox One users on October 21st and run until October 24th. Again, same times above. Access will only be granted to those who have pre-ordered the game on either console platform. If that's you, you can redeem your beta code at one of the websites to get access on opening day. The beta will not be available on PC.
What do you got to do something to get this code? It says redeem your beta code now.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I think that's something. I believe I read somebody on Twitter saying if you ordered it from a retailer, they're sending codes to you to go do it. I think if you pre-order it digitally, it'll automatically be, you'll have access to it from whatever system you're on. But I thought I read on Twitter somebody said that they're sending out codes for people who have a pre-order from retailers, so you can be prepared to download it or get the code that you need.
So I'll have to keep my eyes out for it then.
Yeah, keep an eye on that junk folder. Look out now.
Yeah.
More shooter news. Bulletstorm Remastered is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC in 2017.
Write it in stone. Pen it in. Take it to the bank. We got Brazilian ratings board action, baby.
Oh, the Brazilian ratings board. That's fantastic. The full clip edition is listed for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It's going to be published by Gearbox Software, and it's due out next year. Obviously, Bulletstorm released on 360, PlayStation 3, and PC back in 2011. That's the game where you could kick people in the nuts, and you get a ton of points for killing people in crazy ways, right?
Yeah, you tried to string together interesting ways to dispose of your enemies, and you got different points for these different ways that you could take out your enemies. It was kind of a cult classic. I think Frankie really likes this game.
I know Frankie loves it. So yeah, you can expect that in 2017.
You had that energy whip too.
Yes,
you would whip people and pull them in and kick them in the face.
I do remember watching a couple of videos of the game. I was like, this game looks nuts.
Yeah.
Going over to Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 won't feature a singular campaign.
This is really interesting.
This is weird. The single player mode will take the form of an anthology of short stories rather than the expected single player arc. DICE explained that the game will feature multiple war stories, personal stories focusing on different protagonists with unique backgrounds and skills. DICE also explains that you'll encounter real-life historical figures like Lawrence of Arabia and the Red Baron in the course of the war stories. One story will have you playing an Arab rebel who works with Lawrence to take down the Ottoman Empire's armored train, which has been seen previously in the beta. The blog also says the single-player mode will embrace symmetric gameplay, aiming to bring some of the improvisation and open nature of the series' large-scale multiplayer to the campaign. They also stated that there were so many different perspectives and characters in World War I, we wanted to cover as much ground as possible. We felt that to have one character hopping through those different settings wouldn't be as immersive or totally respectful to that setting. So they broke down the 5 campaigns, and this is what you can expect from these 5 campaigns. The first one, titled Friends in High Places, puts you in the cockpit of a British fighter plane against German aces on the Western Front. Intense dogfights, unexpected encounters, and a story of friendship await you according to the campaign's description. The next one, Nothing is Written, will take you to the deserts of the Middle East, where you'll fight as a Bedouin warrior alongside the legendary Lawrence of Arabia against the Ottoman Empire. Thirdly, Through Mud and Blood follows a dysfunctional Mark V tank crew as you battle your way behind enemy lines in France. Avante Savoia, you'll fight in Arditi, an Italian mountaineer regiment looking to break through a deadlocked fight in the Alps. In an unorthodox assault, you'll don Arditi armor and fight along a mountainside to take a strategic fort. Finally, The Runner will put you behind the eyes of an Anzac runner as you deliver life or death messages across the front line during a naval invasion of the Ottoman homeland. This just is a unique approach. It's not like the other Battlefield games are known for their amazing characters and stories.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not opposed to them trying something new to maybe deliver some more better stories, more engaging stories, shorter stories with different characters. Maybe that'll allow them to kind of expand on these characters a little bit better. But I mean, I'm up for anything. I mean, like I said, Battlefield 4 was terrible. The story was terrible. Battlefield 3, the story was terrible. Hardline started strong, but then was an abomination. Mm-hmm. Let's hope that this approach will kind of give us a better narrative. I mean, I know Battlefield's known for their multiplayer, but I would like to see, something with some kind of meat to it.
I mean, at the very least, it sounds like they've thought about this. I mean, this sounds like it's it's a well thought out plan. It sounds like an interesting concept. I think a lot of these stories have the potential to be really interesting, and they're told from perspectives we don't often get to see from World War I. Mm-hmm. So I think there's definitely some potential here, man. It's just like you said, can Battlefield hit that potential? They're not. It's not a narrative powerhouse franchise, and how long are these little mini campaigns going to be? Mm-hmm. Like Battlefield campaigns typically are not very long, but if we've got 5 mini campaigns, do we have 5? Are we talking about 1-hour missions? Are we talking about 2 to 3 hour stories? Like, are we going to be able to flesh out these storylines in order to get like a meaty narrative? Are these all going to converge at one point? Like, is there any threads that tie all these narratives together? So those are the questions I have. But I do like this idea, though. I think it allows them to jump around the war, give you some different gameplay experiences in the single player campaign without making it seem like it's forced. So I'm really pumped to play Battlefield 1. It's one of my most anticipated games this fall. So this is just a very interesting way to approach the narrative.
Well, the way I look at it is it can't get any worse. So
that's true. Nowhere to go but up from here.
Yeah, from a narrative perspective, it can't get any worse. So if you want to try something new, go for it, because it probably won't hurt much.
Yeah.
You can play this game early with EA Access on Xbox One. It'll be available on October 13th. And lastly, Titanfall 2 has gone gold. This baby's coming out. I don't know if you've watched any of the trailers of late, but I don't know,
The
man.
single player trailers?
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm pumped for that game, dude. I think that campaign could be really, really good. I'm hoping that this is kind of like one of those games where you end up being really shocked by how good the campaign is. I really, really hope that Titanfall 2's campaign lives up to what I'm kind of like hoping it'll be, or at least a fraction of it, because I just feel like this could be a really exciting campaign.
From what I've read about it, it sounds kind of weird.
Mhm.
They've described it as a buddy, like a cop buddy thing with
A buddy
a
comedy
guy, yeah,
film.
like with a guy in a mech. So it sounds weird, but I've actually heard some good things about some of the initial impressions that people have had of the single player from some of the stuff I read this week. So, hey, it sounds like it's shaping up nicely, and a lot of people are excited for it. I just with Titanfall, I just still think it's in a rough spot there in between Battlefield and Call of Duty, and I'll be very shocked if this game performs well or hits anywhere near the 10 million that EA is expecting it to hit. I hope it does. I hope it all goes well. I hope it turns out to be a great game. I just still think it's between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, it's in a real tough spot, but I hope the campaign's good. I think it's got a lot of potential. Boys, we got some Sony stories here. You want to run through these for us?
Yeah. How about this, Brent? No Man's Sky in the news. Never heard this before. Their marketing being investigated by a UK authority. I guess this is due to. I think it stems from the Steam page primarily.
It does. It's there's some screenshots and videos that allegedly show creatures and ship behavior, user interfaces, structures, and whatnot, or combat, and more that don't actually appear in the game that's being sold right now.
And I don't know where you stand on this. I mean, this is all gonna play out however it's gonna play out. But they've given the refunds for this game. So people who have been upset by this have gotten their money back after. Some people have played tens of hours of this game before going and being able to get it refunded. I don't know if this is just some people searching for something else, but they're going to be investigated, and I don't think there was anything malicious on their part. Like, I don't think they were trying to mislead people. Like, I don't get that impression from Sean Murray or from his studio or from Sony. I don't think they were intentionally trying to mislead people. Whether or not they chose the wrong screenshots for the Steam page, I don't know. I don't even know how that works. I don't even know if Sony's involved with that, with the Steam side of things. I have no idea. But I feel like people have gotten their refunds. The game's been patched. It's going to continue to be patched. It's going to continue to be updated. And if you didn't like the game for whatever reason, like, you could have taken advantage of this unprecedented refund policy. Does it suck that this game didn't turn out the way some people wanted it to be? Yeah. But at the same time, I just don't feel like it was a malicious thing on their part. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't feel like Sean Murray was trying to intentionally dupe people.
I don't think he was intentionally duping people, but
Yeah.
clearly there wasn't a clear message with this game. I mean, even after we saw all these videos and whatnot leading up to its release, the one question we constantly asked was, what are we going to do in this game? And Sean Murray, I like Sean Murray, and I don't think he had any malicious intent, but I just think maybe there were some things he was talking about that he shouldn't have been talking about. Maybe some things that he wasn't clear on. And as Shuhei mentioned a while back, he was like, look, they were doing PR things when they didn't have PR people with them.
Yep.
So I mean that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, Sean Murray can be a hell of a nice guy, but if you're out there doing PR stuff and you're not PR people, it's very easy to get in trouble by letting things slip. Maybe because you didn't think about he knew what he was probably trying to say, but the wording of it came out wrong. And when people hear things from the creative director's mouth, I mean, there's certain expectations that are set.
Yeah.
I don't think Sean Murray is a bad guy. I don't think Hello Games was trying to do anything malicious here. But I just think, dude, this is just it just didn't work out. It just didn't turn out to what the marketing led it up to be. A lot of people ran with it, what they thought it would be based on what they saw from the marketing. The things that Sean Murray said. People kind of created their own ideas of what this game should be. And in the end, very few people really appreciated it for what it was. I mean, there are people that really like No Man's Sky, but this thing has just been met with a lot of criticism. It's been a rough go. I don't think this is what Hello Games anticipated. I don't think this is what Sony anticipated. But hey, this is it. This is the nature of the beast. This is the business. And Sean Murray, God bless his soul, he's a nice guy and he means well. He's a very ambitious dude. He's a very passionate guy about gaming. But these are things that happen. And if you're being, if they're being investigated on Steam, if there's screenshots showing things that aren't in the game, then those screenshots probably shouldn't be up there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, malicious intent or not, I don't believe it is. But like I said, this is what happens. And when you talk about things that you maybe shouldn't be talking about, or maybe you haven't prepared statements or haven't had legal look at some of the things you're about to say, I mean, this is the kind of the stuff that's going to happen. And unfortunately, No Man's Sky is just didn't work out like we all thought it would.
Yeah. Some of the stuff is weird. Like you said, it's like a creature or a ship that wasn't in the final game. It's like, did that really affect your experience with this game? Like, did you buy No Man's Sky and you're like, well, that purple anteater thing wasn't in my game, so I'm pissed off now.
The creature thing, I'm not so much, I don't really buy into that. But like ship behavior, that could be interpreted as like this could be a high octane space shooter. I mean, if there's ship behavior, I don't know what they're even referring to, but I mean, if I'm watching a video where there's like a high octane space battle, that could be misinterpreted. I mean, you could be thinking, oh man, this is awesome. There's a lot of good ship behavior here. You're flying around really fast, it's heavy combat, and then you go into the game and you're like, oh, this is kind of weak. Maybe that's just, there's certain things. I can see ship behavior being an issue, but creatures, I mean, this is a procedurally generated game. I mean, who knows? Maybe that creature does exist. You're telling me somebody went through and explored all the planets and they didn't find that creature. No, I mean, that one I'm not buying into. But certain things, structures, combat is another thing that can be misinterpreted if it's not clearly displayed. Ship behavior, combat. But like I said, I don't know if this is just some agency trying to get their rocks off, or maybe they have something legitimate here. I have no idea. All I know is that No Man's Sky had a rough launch. Sean Murray probably said some stuff he shouldn't have said, even though he didn't mean anything bad by it and he wasn't trying to mislead anybody. But hey, this, like I said, it's a rough business, and marketing and how you sell a game to people, if you don't do it right, this is what happens.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's not just gaming like this, man. This happens in all forms of media.
Oh yeah, this happens in everything. I guess with No Man's Sky, I'm curious what the end game is. Because is there a screenshot that they want taken down? Like, if somebody bought the game and they weren't happy with it, like there was a refund policy. So I guess I don't know what the end game is with this investigation.
And see, they mentioned that the UK, this is the Advertising Standards Authority, are the people who are investigating, and they go, the ASA can have advertising it deems misleading withdrawn permanently. While complaints have been made specifically about the game's presence on Steam, any ruling would also apply to advertising using the same footage or image on other platforms such as YouTube, TV, or the PlayStation Store. So, okay. I don't know what the end game is.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just this is just something Hello Games and Sean Murray are going to have to deal with for a while.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, this thing ballooned out of control. I think Hello Games just got in over their head. This was... an ambitious project that was more ambitious than their studio could handle. Even Sony coming in, they probably didn't know what they were getting into either when they got into this, and they didn't handle the marketing correctly on this. And it was probably a combination of both Hello Games and Sony, because I'm sure Sony expected this game to be finished much earlier than it actually ended up coming out at. So this hype train that they were trying to build from it kind of got derailed, because then they had to keep hyping the game because it came out much later than they probably anticipated it. So, it was kind of a perfect storm of issues.
Yeah, basically what Sony did with their marketing, with their trailers, is what every movie distributor does when they have a bomb for a movie. They just show all the best parts in the trailer. And that's what people see and they think, and then they go play the game like what, and they go see the movie and they're like, man, this movie sucks. All the best parts were in the trailer. And I'm not saying No Man's Sky sucks, but
Bender likes it. There's people that like this game.
Bender definitely likes it, and I jumped into it and I can appreciate what it is, but I didn't really care for it after a while. I just kind of was like, oh, this isn't really for me. And and Did I let myself kind of overhype it in my mind? Possibly, but I was just really excited about the potential, the prospect of what this game could be. But in the end, when I finally played it, I was just like, this is really isn't for me. But for those of you that do love playing it, I'm happy for you. Enjoy it. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Just play the game. If you don't like the game, don't play it.
Yeah, and I still haven't jumped into No Man's Sky. some hopefully I'll do at some point in the future. But
let me just say this: play Infinite Second Son Infamous Second Son or Uncharted 4 before you jump into No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry about that. we got that taken care of.
Good deal.
But we're gonna see this again in a few months with The Last Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be certain expectations that people have built up for this game. It's going to be a certain way they expect this game to be, and whether or not it is that game, I don't know. But this game's been building for 10 years, so it's I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen when The Last Guardian comes out. But we're gonna see all this kind of stuff probably rear its head again. We got a date for PSX, Brent, December 3rd and 4th. So I'm guessing we can assume that the Game Awards are going to be happening at the same time. Maybe that same weekend or the Thursday or Friday before. I forgot exactly how they do it. But the things will, of course, kick off 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday with the PlayStation Showcase. So we will see a press conference. And the Capcom Cup will be here again. So we'll see kind of the culmination of that as well, as players compete for more than $250,000 in prizes. A lot of money going around the fighting game world, man.
Man, it really is, and I suck at it. Go figure.
Yeah, need to pick up that joystick and get in there.
I'm good.
See, we got 3-on-3 freestyle basketball announced for PS4. That's coming later this year in Q4 2016. And Brent, Outbreak Day has come and gone with The Last of Us. I just wanted to mention this here, though. The game's on sale so if you're listening to this before Tuesday, the game's going to be on sale on the PlayStation Store, the game and its DLC, Left Behind. If you haven't played The Last of Us, please play this game. This is truly a game that's in the conversation for the best game ever created. I mean, it's just a really special title. It's the culmination of the industry, in my opinion, in terms of narrative, performance, gameplay, emotion. It all comes together in The Last of Us more so than any other game I've played before or since. And it's a very special game. It's certainly one of the best games I've ever played. And I just if you have not played this game or you haven't got your hands on it, do yourself a favor and buy this while it's on sale on the PlayStation Store right now, if you're listening to the show before Tuesday. I really wanted to get my hands on this limited poster, but this thing sold out in like a minute, maybe 30 seconds. It was gone instantly. So
I think it's also available on Amazon for $9.99 right now too.
Yeah, on sale on Amazon. It regularly goes on sale. It's going to get a PS4 Pro patch with the remastered edition for the PS4.
Yep.
So pick the game up, and I mean, it's just a really special game, Brent.
It really is. It's one of the best games I ever played. The opening still gets me.
Yep.
And the tension throughout the game, the relationship between Joel and Ellie is just it's a rarity in video games in terms of like storytelling. And some of the characters you meet along the way are tragic results. Some really despicable people you meet along the way. And one of the endings where it's just it's a fantastic ending. Some people won't think that, but just a fantastic ending in my opinion.
Oh, there's no question. I think it's certainly probably the best ending I've ever had in a video game. And it just reaches a height that's just so much higher than everything else that tries to do the same thing. It's just a phenomenal title, man. So please go play The Last of Us if you haven't. Brent, Yakuza 0 getting the business edition. This will be out in the near future, or it'll be out alongside the game. Limited edition steelbook, business card holder, and some cards in there as well. So if you want to get your Yakuza business on, go ahead and pick up the business edition. This game comes out in what, January? January 24th.
Yes.
2017. So another one of those Q1 titles. Blaze Blue Central Fiction, launches in early November, and it's going to actually launch alongside a new Hori fight pad
Hmm.
bundle. It's $130, and the cool thing about this is it's a fight pad, so it's actually a controller. That I always liked these fight pads. The Saturn fight pad is one of my favorite fighting game controllers of all time. So I don't know what this one looks like yet, but if Hori can create something that's something similar along those lines, I might be interested in picking this up. $130, it's a pretty penny. And the game is $60. So you're paying an extra $70 for this controller, which is pretty wild. Never seen a fight pad cost that much. I mean, you see the fight sticks cost a lot of money, but never a fight pad for that much. So I'm interested to see what that thing looks like.
Hmm.
Blaze Blue, also an excellent title. So Central Fiction, I would assume would be just as excellent. We read a little bit more about Vampire this week. This is Don't Nod's next game.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's going to be a really cool game, man. I mean, third person action adventure. You're going to have vampire powers. Sounds like there's going to be a lot of like character action stuff in this game. Maybe something that we'd see in like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry. I'm getting that kind of vibe from what I've read about the combat. So sounds like it's going to have a really interesting combat system. Haven't seen this game in motion yet. That's what I'm looking forward to. Not sure when it's planning to come out, but I want to see what this thing looks like when it's running. We got some VR stuff on the horizon here, Brent. Here They Lie is a PSVR launch title. You watched this trailer. What do you think about Here They Lie?
It looks like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
It just looks incredibly strange and very odd, and then very unnerving. And I can imagine it's with the 3D audio in this city that this whole thing takes place in. I'm sure it's just a very uneasy experience.
Yeah. Very. I mean, there are some scenes in this trailer that I'm trying to imagine when you have the headset on that are going on. I mean, there's like reality is distorting. There's some like jump scares. I mean, it's looks like it could be a terrifying game in the headset. So, I definitely interested to see how that one turns out. That's a launch title. Also a launch title, Sports Bar VR. So if you want to play like some bar games in a headset, that could be a fun distraction. It's a launch day title.
I have one request. You want to make this thing awesome? Find a way to have PlayStation View function through this, so you can put your game on TV in the bar, because there's TVs in the bar in this video.
Yeah.
Imagine like you're sitting there watching the Lions game, actually in VR, watching up on there, and then playing pool with your buddies. That'd be sweet.
That would be awesome. So, if you're listening to this show and you have any bearing on virtual reality for the PlayStation VR, you make that happen, because that sounds great. Drive Club VR, Brent, we found out, is also going to be a launch day title.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be available for $39.99, but it'll also be available for $20 if you're a season pass holder as of September 28th. So a nice gesture for people that have been around Drive Club for a while. You get the game at half price. And this is not a simple just VR version of Drive Club. Like Drive Club VR has new tracks, new audio, new tasks. Like there's new things, new trophies. There's new stuff that goes into this game. So this is not a simple just VR version of the original Drive Club. And new tracks are going to be added into the original Drive Club as well. So they're going to take some of the VR tracks, put them into the original Drive Club as well. So you'll be able to experience those. So pretty cool if that's a launch title. Heard some good things about this one, man. That's another one I really want to play.
Boys, how many launch titles are there for the PlayStation VR?
There's quite a few now, man. This is getting to be a hefty lineup here. I don't know the exact number here, but there's probably like 30 titles in here between retail and what we're gonna get on PSN when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a good bit of stuff to choose from, I think, once the headset launches.
I'm curious because this week, on Wednesday the 5th, the embargo for PlayStation VR, the headset, and launch titles will be lifted. So Sony very confident in their product. A week before launch, the embargo will be up. Reviews will be out from all the major outlets. Short Paw is apparently not a major outlet because we don't get one. So
shocking.
We have to wait like everyone else.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out. Wednesday, that's going to be an interesting day. The review for the headset and for all the launch title games. So that's going to be a fun day for sure.
I mean, if I had to guess, I would I would assume they're going to be pretty positive just from everything we've heard. Seems like, the headset's been pretty well received. A lot of the games have been well received. So I think we're in probably for some nice impressions once October 5th rolls around. And Brent, one more thing we need to mention. Sundered, a new
Yes.
hand-drawn epic from the makers of Jotun, has been announced. It's going to be a 2017 title. I was kind of surprised to see this, and partly because Jotun just came out for consoles, but I guess it's been out for a while on PC, so they've probably been toiling away at Sundered. And then the other part of this is just the way these games look. They're just so beautiful to look at. This hand-drawn style that they employ in Jotun and now in Sundered. The game just looks awesome. So I don't know how they do this so quickly, but they create this very striking animation style in these games. And the really exciting thing about Sundered is this is a Metroidvania game, man.
Yes, it is.
So to take the look of Jotun and transport it into a Metroidvania style game, it's got some rogue elements. It mentions influences from Rogue Legacy and Super Metroid, which are two awesome games. So when you put those two in the same title, in the same sentence together, like you've perked my interest. If you watch this trailer, the game just looks awesome. They've mentioned taking the things they've learned about Jotun and some of the systems that they've implemented and kind of taking things to the next level with Sundered. I don't know about you, man, but I'm a Thunder Lotus fan for life now after Jotun, and I can't wait to see what Sundered turns out to be, especially in one of my favorite genres, the Metroidvania genre.
Oh, dude, I'm right there with you. I mean, when I watched the trailer, I was like, yes, this looks badass. I mean, I liked Jotun. I think this looks even better. This is described as a horrifying fight for survival and sanity. You play as Eshe, I'm assuming is the name, or Esh.
Yeah.
A wanderer in a ruined world trapped in ever-changing caverns teeming with eldritch horrors. Harness the power of corrupted relics to defeat gigantic bosses at the cost of your humanity. Sundered is a game that builds on the strengths of Jotun, hand-drawn art, epic boss battles, and great immersion. However, we know Jotun was far from perfect. I don't know, it was pretty close. With Sundered, we've added more complex mechanics, tons of replayability, and meaningful choices. We've gone into a darker universe heavily inspired by Lovecraft's writings. In terms of gameplay, like you mentioned, Sundered is mostly described as a replayable Metroidvania. You explore an ever-changing dungeon, fight hordes of eldritch horrors, and choose between humanity or madness. This, alongside what we saw in the trailer, is a day one buy for me. Thunder Lotus Games is killing it right now.
Yeah, there's no question. This is going to be very high on my most anticipated list because this looks great.
I agree with you 100%. This looks awesome.
Bosses are there too, so obviously that's something they did great in Jotun. They're bringing more of these giant epic boss battles. I can't wait, dude. This is gonna be sick. Yeah,
we'll definitely be emailing Thunder Lotus Games to try to get our hands on that game before it comes out for sure.
Yeah, we'll let them know that right now that we're coming for them.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for this week's show. We had a lot of Destiny stuff, some other good stuff, but Destiny was the primary subject today, and I'm quite all right with that. Destiny just seems to be a game that the Short Pause offices can't put down.
Indeed.
I mean,
we're hooked.
we all love it. We're all very passionate about Destiny. We care about its future, and we trust Bungie. We think Bungie will do a great job with Destiny 2. Like I said, there are some, I would say very mild concerns, but I'm going to wait to see what Bungie has to say officially about this, what they're going to do before I start to get really concerned. But like I said, my faith is in Bungie. I believe in them. I love Destiny, and I'm really excited for Destiny 2.
I'm with you, man. You got Luke Smith at the helm too of Destiny 2, so that bodes well for that game.
Absolutely. We want to get your thoughts on everything we heard about the possibility of what Destiny 2 could be next year when it launches. Email us, podcast@shortpause.com. Boys, where can we find you gaming and tweeting?
As always, I will be not tweeting at Piccolo930, and that's my PSN handle as well, Piccolo930. It's my Steam name too, right? Piccolo930.
I believe it is.
You can find me on there as well.
You can find me on Twitter at TheDude1979, PlayStation Network, TheDude79, and Xbox Live, The Real Dude 79. I don't even know what my Steam name is. It is something absurd. It's like super long. It's like the Dude 989 1979 or something like that. I don't even know. I don't care. Yeah, it's something absurd. Make sure you follow the website on Twitter at The Short Pause. Visit www.shortpause.com. We've always got new press releases going up, our videos, podcast posts, editorials, all of that. So visit www.shortpause.com. If you like this podcast, if you enjoy this podcast, if you love it and you want to give us a 5-star rating, go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. If you're like, I don't want to give you 5 stars, Brent. I don't want to give you guys 5 stars. That's fine. You don't have to. I don't want you to go over there and put up a fake one. I want you to either email us or come into the podcast post and leave your feedback there. Remember, if you email us with your feedback, good or bad, doesn't matter. As long as it's constructive and it's something that we can, try to work into the show to make it better, emails, podcast@shortpause.com. We're going to be giving out PlayStation cards or Xbox One codes for $10 each to some of the better responses that we get. So podcast@shortpause.com. If we like what we got from you, good or bad, we'll send you an email back asking you which one you prefer, and we'll send you the code. It's simple as that. That's all you have to do. We want to hear from you. We want to make this the best show that we can. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Short Pause Gaming. Follow us on Twitch, Short Pause Live. Thursday night Indie Spotlight. Big show. Thursday night, Origami. Tuesday night, we're doing a co-op stream. We'll do a special Tuesday night Indie Spotlight of Viking Squad. Boyce and I will hop in there and stream some co-op action. So make sure you follow us on Twitch, Short Pause Live. All those videos will be transferred over to our YouTube channel, Short Pause Gaming. You can find this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, or Google Play. If you're subscribed, tell your friends to subscribe. Tell them to check out the podcast. We want to hear from them as well. We absolutely love feedback. We want to hear from not only our longtime listeners, but new listeners as well. And then lastly, if you don't want to write something to us, if you got a question about a topic we talked about, if you got a comment, if you have a suggestion or anything, download the Wave app on Android and iOS devices. You can actually record a message to the Short Pause Gaming podcast page on Wave. We can take that question, plug it right into the show. So if you have a question about Destiny 2, or if you have a comment about what we talked about tonight, we can plug that into the show and then discuss it. We want to hear from you. We're giving you every possible way of getting in touch with us. Email, on the website, or via Wave. We want to hear from you regardless, one way or the other. So for Mr. Boyce, I'm Brent Felsing. Frankie and Bender will be back next week. We'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.